Self-righteous suicides. I cry when angels deserve to.
We must up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. How we ablaze the fire, make it fun then. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And you will end your week just like a Sunday. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. Skrillex ablaze the fire, make it fun then. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And you will end your week just like a Sunday.
Rape me, rape me, my friend. Rape me, rape me again. I did my best to notice when the call came down the line, up to the platform of surrender. I was brought, but I was kind. Sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door. Close your eyes, clear your heart, cut the cord. Why don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicides? I cry. Angels deserve to cry. Are we human? Or are we dancers? My sign is vital. My hands are cold. And I'm on my knees looking for the answers. Are we human? Or are we dancers?
I've got an elastic heart. Yeah, I've got an elastic heart.
When angels deserve to.
We must up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. How we ablaze the fire, make it fun then. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And you will end your week just like a Sunday. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make them all have fun. Skrillex ablaze the fire, make it fun then. We must up the place, turn up the bass and make some sound, boy run. And we will end your week just like a Sunday.
Trying to get that bussy. Oops. There is some new information. I don't know if he got that pussy though.
Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Father, into your hands, why have you forsaken me? In your eyes, forsaken me. In your thoughts, forsaken
I mean, he might have got that pussy.
in your heart, forsaken me. Self-righteous suicide. When angels deserve to die. Self-righteous suicide. When angels deserve to die.
Elastic heart.
When angels deserve to die.
That's enough of that. Oh, why is that still playing? Okay. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Ryoga, here to talk to you. We have not a lot of new developments, but some developments nonetheless. Some that I definitely think are worth talking about. In the Jussie Smollett case. And this dropped just a couple hours ago. And I just want to jump right to it. or I'll wait a couple minutes for more people to show up. But let's do a recap over the past 48 hours. Let's see. We have the superintendent of police who makes a statement that if indeed Jussie Smollett is lying to investigators, that he will be held accountable. Now, this is a much different tone shift from what they've been saying for the past 9 days. Previously, they've been saying he's a victim. We're treating him as a victim. We are actively looking for the suspects. We've gone over hundreds of hours of footage, and these men will be brought to justice. Actually, they never said that. They never said they'd be brought to justice. Only that they are looking for information pertaining to the suspects. Even though, after hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage that have been investigated and gone over through, after 12 Chicago Police Department detectives have gone over, the 4 FBI agents who are looking for footage of anything that might have happened in all of a 3-block radius. I mean, I shouldn't even say radius. We're talking about a straight line from the subway, past the Target, past his home, and he passes his home to go further down the street, bypassing his place, which would have been the place to go when you're outside in negative 23-degree weather. No, he passes his home and goes down an additional block. Why? I don't know. I probably won't speculate on that. Sup, Chicago, what's going on? Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? What about an introduction to someone who has no clue? We're doing the introduction. We're going over the past 48 hours, Holly. Holly, we're going over the past 48 hours. You just showed up, man. You late. You late to the party. Don't drop the rope. We have some new information on that rope, by the way. But as we continue to recap the last 48 hours of information that we've gotten, the police are still looking into this, but now the wording that they use is slightly changing. Yesterday, the superintendent, Eddie Long, God, what's his name? Eddie something. Said that if indeed Jussie Smollett is lying about this incident, then he will be held accountable. Now, I don't know if that means a prosecution or if they'll even make it public. And I think that is, they have to make it public. If indeed this is all a hoax, they have to make it public. Eddie Murphy. Oh, that is so is funny. Okay, I don't have a good Eddie Murphy impression. Long Eddie. What's his name? Hold on, let me see if I can find his name. Chicago Top Cop? What's his name? What's the man's name? It's Eddie Bishop? Is that it? That sounds about right. Eddie Bishop. No, but like I said, they're checking to see what's up. We know that according to the Chicago Police Department, they have accounted for every step. No, let's not talk about Bishop Eddie Long. Didn't he die? Didn't Bishop Eddie Long die of AIDS? After they found he was messing with them little boys? Yeah, he died in 2017. Bishop Eddie Long dies of aggressive form of cancer, otherwise known as HIV. Okay, I'm not saying that it's HIV, but it's probably HIV. Since he was messing with them little boys. Baptist megachurch pastor Bishop Eddie Long got caught up messing with them little boys. Then a couple months later, just happens to die of aggressive cancer. Just saying. Dude, in a course of 8 months, he went from posting selfies in the mirror, looking all buff and big, then he looked like a stick figure. You know what? Let's go and take a look. Let's take a look at Bishop Eddie Long. Wait, what is this? Okay, hold on. I opened up a new window. I didn't want that. Let's take a look at Bishop Eddie Long. Bishop Eddie Long. Look at him. Look at him. Looking big, posting bathroom selfies for his stable of young men. Young teenage men. Or should I say boys. That he was messed around with. And, Bishop Eddie Long went out looking like this. Tiny, frail. This is how Bishop Eddie Long went out. Damn shame. Used to be big dude like this, Bishop Eddie Long. Mm, 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 mm. Sad, but you know we got brothers out there in the community on the down low. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong doing what you want to do on your own time, but you can't. You know, I just hate hypocrites. That's what I really hate. I don't care what you do on your own time. I don't care where you put your penis or your vagina. I don't care if you cut it off or stick a new one on there. I really don't care. I just hate the hypocrisy of it all. I hate when we got a pastor out there preaching against the sins of homosexuality, preaching against the sins of debauchery, preaching against Sodom and Gomorrah, of drug use, of defiling children. He the one out there doing all the dirty work. Damn shame. But, you know, only one person can judge him now. There's a good Norm Macdonald hypocrite bit. I will look into that. I mean, that is a lot of what I talk. Okay, I think I got enough people in the room now. Let's dig into this. Refer Regal, who is a Fox News reporter, Fox 23 out of Chicago, and also Rob Elgast, who's also another reporter down in the trenches of Chicago, who have been on this story since day one and are not letting up. And that's what I like about local reporters. I know we give the media a bad rap all the time. It's like, oh, fake news this, fake news that. Yo, y'all, pay attention to local not say independent, but yeah, pay attention to local journalists. They don't have an agenda. You know, if you got a journalist that you like in your own region that works for like a Cron 4 or NBC 7 or something, yo, those are the people going out there digging in trash cans, getting on the phone, trying to get the story. What you see on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, these are people who are just blurting out what comes off the wire. Those are the people who are trying to mold your opinion of something. Local reporters just want to get the story out. And I think here's a story that we need to stick on. Chicago police say they've ID'd the retailers of the rope found on Jussie Smollett and are now visiting every store in the city to check surveillance to see who bought it. If you guys remember, 4 days ago, I'm the one. Well, actually, it was CDW. I think that's the name of the Twitter account. They were the first persons to report that the noose, as we thought at the time, as it originally came out, they said it was a noose around his neck. And it was them who reported that that their sources from inside the police department said that it was not a noose, that it was a thin rope that appeared to be a clothesline freshly out of the package. That is how they described it. A clothesline freshly out of the package. Now the police say, as they confirmed just the other day that it appeared to be a clothesline, now they're saying they've ID'd the retailer that the rope came from. So I'm assuming that it's from a Target or Walmart or something. When it comes to items like that, and I wouldn't call that a specialty item, but I think when you're talking about unique items like that, it's easier to track down because a Target and a Walmart probably won't carry the same brand of clothesline rope. Probably not. They'll have brands, but probably not the same one. Yeah, Michigan, I see you. So let's continue. Let's deep dive into this tweet. Chicago police say they've ID'd the retailers of the rope found on Jesse Smollett and are now visiting every store in the city to check surveillance to see who bought it. They've also obtained more video from nearby hotels and red light cameras. Still no video of alleged attack. Still no video of alleged attack. Hey, Everyday Progressive Show, what's going on? Oh, you have a show, Everyday Progressive, on Twitch? We should talk sometime. I'm trying to find a new stream crew to get out there and spread the message. I need a squad. I need a politically active squad of streamers to talk about. I don't want a game. I just want to talk about real shit. And the real shit is of the additional hundreds and hundreds of hours that the police have said they've gone through, they have now found more surveillance cameras in the location of the alleged attack. I've been doing politics for 20 years or so. Twitch for 4 months. Well, hey, welcome to Twitch, man. Welcome to Twitch, man. Dude, I've been trying to push it's fake. I've been trying to push politics on Twitch for so long. I did a panel for TwitchCon back in 2016, and I wanted to do one on politics the following year, and it never happened. But I don't, you just got to get out there and keep doing it. Wells Fargo shut down. Shut down how? I heard they had a computer issue this morning. Oh no, yeah. Oh, dude, you want to talk on Discord? Dude, I am trying to see if this works. I'm in my Discord right now. Actually, I'm loading it up. I'm sitting in my 1v1 room. You can either Google me on Discord, or you can go. Where's my Discord link? Yeah, 4MJZDTS. Sorry, I'm not popular enough to get an actual Discord name. Also had military all over office in LA. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Hold on, let me check this out really quick. Wells Fargo. I'm curious. Wells Fargo suffers widespread outage of ATM's mobile banking capabilities. That was 9 hours ago. Their Twitter says, we want our customers to know that this is a contained issue affecting one of our facilities and not due to a cybersecurity event. We apologize for any inconvenience caused by these system issues, and any Wells Fargo fees incurred as a result of these issues will be reversed. So they're saying one place? Not really. But Fox Business said widespread outage, and Wells Fargo is saying one location. Black helicopters in downtown LA. Okay, so there's a straight line. We've got multiple sources that are saying that it's a widespread issue, and they're saying we want our customers to know that this issue is contained. This contained issue is affecting one of our facilities, and not due to any cybersecurity event. That don't sound right. How can you say widespread issue on one hand, and then you say it's only happening at one of your facilities? By one of your facilities, do you mean like the main facility that handles all your shit? I don't know. Where's that link I was at? Did I just lose that link? Everyday Progressive Show. Do I have a Discord server? I do. The link or it's 4MJZDTS. Or you can just search for me on there and throw me an invite. What do I think about the BuzzFeed asking Twitter to ban anyone spreading SOTU Democratic KKK memes when they were the ones to post it? What? My name's not coming up. It's Ara. My actual Discord name is. I don't use Discord very much, so. Wait, so you're saying when you search Ryoga V? That's weird. God, what's my Discord name? I don't even know where to find it. Where do you find your Discord name? This is stupid. Can't right click any. God, where's my. Damn it. Sorry, guys. Sure, throw the link. I'll tap it. I don't have any restrictions on posting links. Hold on, give me a second. Discord.gg/. Wait, invite invalid? Discord is dangerous. They give logs to Antifa. I'm not in college anymore. Okay, that's just. That is weird. That is weird. Yeah. It's not coming up for me. I'm sorry. This is very boring for everyone. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do the thing. Nope, that's not working. Yeah, sorry, man. Okay, there, I actually clicked it this time. Continue to Discord. Ah, there we go. Finally! Finally! Alright. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
There we are. Now we are finally interactive.
And finally in business.
So, have you been
Shit.
keeping up to speed with the Jussie Smollett story?
To be honest, I heard little something about it, but what's going on with that? Like I heard you before. Somebody put a rope around someone's neck.
Okay, so Jussie Smollett is an actor on the show Empire on Fox, one of the highly rated shows that they have going on right now. Jussie Smollett just happens to be African American and also gay, which coincides with the character that he plays on the show. I believe was it Thursday or Friday? Well, either last Thursday or Friday. He allegedly was attacked near his Chicago home, where it was originally described as two men in MAGA hats and hoods yelled at him saying, "Aren't you that Empire faggot? We're going to get you, nigger." Where they proceeded to jump him, beat the brakes off of him, punch him in the face. Today, a bit of information came out that said that he might have gotten bit by them. They poured bleach on him and tied a noose around his neck. This happened at 2 a.m., where in Chicago that evening it was negative 23 degrees. And he decided to leave his house after a 8-hour flight. He had gone home, had posted on social media that I'm going home, it's cold outside, I'm going to bed. He did that at midnight. 2 hours later, he decides to leave his house to go get a Subway sandwich in negative 23 degree weather in Chicago, Illinois. So he goes get the sandwich. There's surveillance footage of him at the Subway. There's surveillance footage of him walking down the block past the Target. There's surveillance footage of him walking past his home. But then he goes another block down the street, away from his home. And as the police say, they have accounted for nearly every step that Jussie Smollett has made, except for 60 seconds, where they say he gets out of frame of all surveillance cameras for 60 seconds, then he comes back into frame, walking normally, with a rope draped around his neck like a necktie, with his phone in one hand, and the sandwich also still in his hand. And allegedly, this is the period of time where he would have been attacked. Now, Jussie Smollett leaves from that location, goes into the hotel lobby of a friend of his nearby. He passes security, does not say anything about being attacked, and then he is seen getting in the elevator, and that is the last we see of Jussie Smollett that evening.
So you're saying that there's or at least some people, good chance he made that shit up.
Well, that is the speculation. I should also note that no one called the cops for another 42 minutes after that. When the police arrived to the location of the friend's house, Jussie asked them to turn the body cameras off before he would speak with them. He then explained to the police officers the attack that allegedly had just happened. He said that he was on the phone with his manager at the time. They asked to look at his phone to confirm that. He refused to. They later asked for his phone records. As of now, he has refused to do so, and I believe yesterday the police said they are now subpoenaing those records. As for the part about which was originally described as two racist white men in MAGA hats and hoods. Oh, they said he broke his ribs too. And that he was brutally beaten. Out of this, he doesn't have broken ribs. He has a very small scratch on his face. After TMZ posted the information about the MAGA hats and after the attack, the gentleman who allegedly attacked him walked away saying that this is MAGA country. That's what they said. So,
if this guy, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now, 14 hours later, after the initial interview with the police, the police came back to him, where he then added additional information to the story. He made no mentioning of MAGA hats. He made no mentioning of their race. He made no mentioning of them making racial slurs or homophobic slurs to him. That did not come out until 14 hours later during a subsequent interview. So since then, there have been 12 police detectives and 4 FBI agents working on this case. As of now, they have found nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And this is downtown Chicago in one of the most surveilled areas in the country. We're talking about a state-of-the-art surveillance system, and they have found nothing.
Well, let's say that, for the sake of argument, that he did, for whatever reason, contrive the attack, and it didn't really happen. Why would he do that? I mean, because if it gets found out that it's all made up, it's only going to give the right wing an excuse to say, or to discredit any other attacks that might happen in the future that are legitimate. I mean, why take? I mean, if you did do that, why
That's
try to
a
even?
that's a very good question. Why would someone of his status make up a wild story, which is fantastic as it seems? Why would someone lie to the public like that and make up a story of a alleged hate crime? And to answer that question, I would equally ask why in March of 2006 did Crystal Magnum, who was a student at North Carolina University, also make up a story that the Duke lacrosse team gang raped her, which turned out to be emphatically untrue and false, fake story. She later killed, and I believe 2 years later, she ended up killing her boyfriend. That is another national story that came out. Do you remember the Duke lacrosse case?
Oh God, vaguely.
Vaguely. That she lied. She lied. She pinned a gang rape on an entire college athletic team, and it turns out the entire thing was made up.
Jeez, oh Pete.
So, and that's just one. I mean, I can bring up more incidents if you like, but I think we'll be doing tit for. Just I'll be naming them off for the sake of naming them off. The point I'm getting at is there are people out there that are willing to risk, their ethics, their morals, their good name for a little bit of celebrity and a little bit of sympathy. And one cannot deny that Jesse Smollett is getting a lot of attention. I guarantee you the ratings, once they start filming and airing episodes again, are going to be through the roof. He's a B-list actor at best. He's a B-list actor, and I'm not saying that to besmirch or talk down to his talents. That is the reality. At best, he is a B-list actor. I guarantee you right now, producers, casting agents, and everyone else in Hollywood is trying to find a way to get him to work on a project they're doing. So if you want to know why someone would make up a story like that, that's a money, success, fame, and glamour. That is why.
I mean, maybe if he made it more believable, then, but still, just even when he said two guys having to recognize him, out doing whatever with rope, like, that story seemed a little reverse engineered from the
seems a
first.
little fantastic, and everything and anything is probable. Unless you told me aliens came down and smacked them up, that's not. But I'm sure there's some reality out there where, and before, I'll just say this: I don't think rednecks are out there watching Empire. It's a black show, all black cast. I don't think MAGA hat wearing, Trump supporting, racist folks who don't like gay people are studying that show and would recognize one of their star actors on the street at 2 in the morning while it is negative 23 degrees outside in Chicago,
Yep.
Illinois, where they beat a man, pour bleach on him, by the way, which freezes at 19 degrees Fahrenheit. So they want me to believe. They want me to believe that Two MAGA hat, black hood wearing, racist, redneck ass sumbitches are walking around in the middle of the night. And at 2 a.m., they just happen to come across a famed actor on a hit TV show, and they recognize him in the dark. And they say, "Hey, aren't you that nigger, Jesse Smollett? F you, faggot." And while they're holding a jug of bleach and a noose in the other hand, they proceed to put the brake on him, put the beat down on him. All the while, Jesse Smollett is getting his ass whooped. He continues to hold his Subway sandwich, which is now frozen stiff, and his cell phone in the other hand while he's getting his ass whooped. He then walks away without a scratch on him. I'm having trouble believing that. Now, if you told me Jesse Smollett went outside to go get some ass behind the dumpsters at 2 in the morning, I might believe that. If you told me Jesse Smollett went outside to try to get a hit of smack, or some weed, or some heroin, or some coke, or some fentanyl, I might believe that. And he just happened to get the old opie dope, got caught slipping. I believe that shit. And I'm saying, that shit happens. People get caught up in dumb shit all the time. All the time. It happens to people. I was going to say it happens to everyone. I'm not going to say it happens to everybody. But I will say that, people get to beat down sometimes. You might go outside to, try to get some weed or try to get a hit of some cocaine or something like that. And hey, you get caught slipping. That's okay. That is okay. You know what?
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us, but you ain't got to lie. You don't have to lie and twist the story to make it sound better than it seems. Or it sounds sympathetic in your case. If Jesse would have came out and just said like, "Hey, Jesse, what happened?" It's like, "I don't know, man. I didn't see nothing. I was minding my own business and, I got smacked up a little bit, probably by a hobo or something. I don't know." People would have said, "Man, that's messed up, Jesse. That's too bad. It's crazy out here in these streets. Be strong, my brother." It'd have been done with. We would have talked it up to, yeah, crazy people out there. Probably got smacked up by a hobo or something, or some crazy transient. And we'd been like, "You know what? Respect to you, man. I'm glad you're still alive. I'm glad you're still moving. Do you." But no, we have this fantastic story of MAGA hat wearing, black mask with balaclavas. They got balaclavas over their face with no video footage. So now I'm thinking there's vampires out there supporting Trump, just silently sluking up on people, biting them, because they said today that he potentially got bit. So we got vampire, Trump supporting, black hooded, balaclava wearing, and they bit him, so they zombies. So they also zombies. Walking around in negative 23-degree weather, which I would also equate to them being zombies and vampires, because they cold-blooded, with a jug of bleach and a noose in the other hand. And they beat this dude so bad that they did not leave one black eye.
Seems a little fantastical, but I just don't like dismissing stories like that out of hand because this country does have a really shitty history of things like that happening.
I would agree with you. In fact, I will go as far as to say I wish it was true. I wish, because I don't want to believe that a person of his status would make up such a story for money or sympathy. I do not want to believe that.
I think it's only going to end up backfiring on him.
But the truth, the facts are there. When I first heard it, it already sounded like a fantastic story. But more so, now that, as the police say, 12 detectives are taking resources from other crimes, murders, rapes, robberies, etc. This is like all hands on deck. We're not talking about a large, area of space. We're talking about 4 blocks. And they say they have gone through hundreds of hours of footage. The FBI has gotten involved. And they have nothing. They have nothing. And it's not like they're only looking at a 5-minute period of time they've looked at footage before, during, and after. And I would think that we're talking about a highly surveilled area. So they would be able to see if somebody came in an hour prior or left an hour later. And funny, speaking of leaving an hour later, the neighbor who lives at the condo where he lives, after some of these leaks started coming out about specific information, she goes and contacts the police and says that, hey, there was this scruffy redneck looking guy in front of our condo. And she gave this very, very accurate description 3 days later of a, as she described, a scruffy looking redneck man in a blue hoodie, a blue beanie, a blue shirt, gray shorts, and dark gray hunting socks with tan colored dress shoes, smoking a cigarette. And she believed that this might be the person. Well, the police go and check the footage of the condo, and they have nothing. They said that person did not exist. So she made a false police report trying to protect Jussie Smollett. I don't know if she's being arrested or she's being talked to, but she made a false police report about a fictional, scruffy, redneck-looking man. So all of this just seems... No, gray socks, actually. I'm looking at my chat room. No, they said he had gray hunting socks with tan-colored dress shoes. And shorts in negative 23-degree weather. This is why this story is difficult for me to believe. That we're talking beyond freezing temperatures. Why are people out at that? I mean, yes, people can be out. I'm not going to say people can't be out, but like the last thing I'm thinking about is hunting down somebody to put the beat on them while it is at sub-freezing temperatures. That don't make no sense to me. That is too fantastic of a story.
Yeah, that's strange credulity. Definitely. But yeah, I like to try to get the whole story, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy. And yesterday the superintendent of the police made a statement that if indeed this story turns out to be false, they said that Mr. Smollett will be held accountable.
That's what I mean. Like, if he's gonna make a false story, why take the risk, fucking up his career or record or anything like that? It's just not worth it.
I mean, it's who knows?
It's
Like I
like,
said, he's not the first person to make up a fantastic story like this. He definitely is one of the most notable people. But this isn't new. Fake hoax attacks. This isn't anything new.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the people on the far right are going to take advantage, for their narrative.
Yeah. But believe it or not, given my isolated research of this incident, and believe me, I've been on this since day one, the vast majority of people who don't believe him are other black folk. According to my research, and that's not based off any statistical fact or anything, but as I go through Twitter and Instagram and other places, the vast majority of people who are commenting on this story with disbelief happen to be African American. And I think one of that reasons is we kind of understand the context of not only Chicago, but having people out there, trying to whoop your ass, past midnight. I mean, I'm not saying I've got my ass whooped past midnight, but I know people who done got whooped up on or mugged and things like that. And that is a concept that I can understand. I can wrap my head around it because I know people who've happened to. I know people who've been through it or know other people who've been through it. And it's a similar theme. And it's believable. Like if you told me, hey, someone... And the other thing is they didn't take his phone. They didn't take his wallet. They didn't try to mug him. Which makes me think that either... And again, we're talking about 60 seconds of time is unaccountable for. That is, police say that they only have 60 seconds where they can't account for where he's at. So, did these two men somehow magically avoid every single surveillance camera to get to the same location where Jussie Smollett was at, beat him for 60 seconds, not take anything from him? Or was somebody, or did he just happen to know the area where the darks, the blank spots were? And either a booty call gone wrong, even though I think it's far unlikely that somebody would want to do a booty call outside at 2 in the morning in negative 23-degree weather, especially when his condo is a block away.
Maybe he was horny. I was like, give me that ass.
Or something else. There's some reports online that says that he was at a nightclub prior to this and that he was messing with somebody's man. No one's been able to confirm that yet or not, but it's one of the stories going around and floating. Look at my chat room. Chicago asks, do I think there are YouTubers whose blackness will not allow them to see through this obvious hoax? Well, we looked at Joe Budda's video just the other day, where Remy Ma was, was like, what do you mean, Joe? What do you mean you don't believe him? And she was having a really hard time understanding why Joe did not, by default, believe the state of this incident to be true.
Shit. That'd be fucked up if he was making it up, because it just insults other people who have been seriously attacked
in
the past.
And when I'm not gonna say if, but when someone gets attacked again in a similar fashion, instantly people will say like, "Oh, you're making this up." That's what people are gonna think. I mean, it's hard enough to believe victims as it is, whether you're black, white, gay, female, whatever it is. If you get taken advantage of some way, it's hard enough, in this country and society to believe a victim as it is. I mean, while I'm not going to relitigate the Christine Blasey Ford incident and her testimony, but we saw the country split right down the middle. Was she telling the truth or not? Was her recollection of when she was 14 at a party where people were running around drinking and shit, was that accurate? Why didn't she do anything sooner? But I'm mentioning that because that is the type of narrative that goes on where people just don't believe victims.
Yeah. Man, I wish I knew more about it, but I'm just gonna take you what happened what allegedly happened.
I mean, if you're interested, when you get the time, do your own little research on the story. There's tons of videos out there. I've played many of them, throughout the previous couple days that I've been tackling the story. There's a lot of reputable information out there. Every news network has done a video on it, or an article or a story. And again, as of it stands right now, nobody knows what happened. Because we don't know. We really don't know. What I do know is what the police have said so far. And without going into the nitty-gritty details, the police say that Jussie Smollett alleged that an attack happened. Since then, they've had 12 detectives and FBI agents scour over hundreds of hours of footage. And to this day, they still have not found any correlation between his testimony, his accusations, and anybody in the area at that time.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you something off topic. Whenever you got a couple minutes,
I got all night.
Yeah, sweet. There's two topics I want to bring up. They're different from the Jussie Smollett.
Oh yeah, bring up something new. Go for it.
Okay, it's the first topic is I'm building a Twitch political coalition. I have a Discord server of other political Twitch streamers who do politics, which can also include YouTubers that do politics as well. So it's not just Twitch. The idea
is
that the coalition is like in the server, like if you join a political streamer, can have their own subcategory, and the idea is to build this big coalition to where everyone who's at least a political streamer, maybe others as well, I don't know yet, depends how big it gets, can be together on one server where we can have strength in numbers to maybe fight back against some bogus bannings by Twitch and raise awareness and say about what we can do to fight back against it. So it's a little something I came up with because Hassan Habibi recently banned and then unbanned for gore. Another guy, a smaller guy, was recently banned for allegedly using hate speech, even though he says he didn't use any hate speech. He didn't know what it is, and Twitch ain't telling him exactly what he said.
Yeah, I
So-
think everyone should have a voice, regardless of your opinions. The part of the problem with that is what is considered hate speech tends to change by the week. So one day it's okay to call, God, what's her name? Damn it, drawing a blank. On the Wheaties box. on the Wheaties box. The athlete. One of the greatest.
Venus?
No. Okay, the dude. I just can't think of her name right now.
Oh,
No,
Serena?
no, the dude on the Wheaties box who's now a woman. I can't think of her name right now. Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm saying, what I'm getting at is, one day we called Caitlyn Jenner Kris Jenner, and then moments later, Bruce Jenner, and then the next day it was Caitlyn, and to say otherwise meant that you were, what's the term? They're using a term now called dead naming, which is to misidentify a trans woman or a trans man. I don't see anything wrong having that conversation. That is a conversation worthy of happening,
Right.
because there's a lot of people who are not accustomed to the idea or even the concept that someone can be born a man or a woman at a later date in their life. They change that, and that is worth discussing. You can call it hate speech, whether you dig it or not. You can still talk to people to either get them to understand or they can voice their opinions. And I always say, like, the only thing to challenge hate speech is better speech. If you don't like what I'm saying, you come with a better argument.
Yeah.
And if I don't get it, then I just don't get it and you move on. But you don't try to deplatform someone because they don't fall into your ideology. So, with Twitch and YouTube and other places, there's a lot of deplatforming. God, I fucking hate cancel culture. Like, now it's like, oh, he said something I don't like, let's cancel him. Yo, people going after Liam Neeson right now because of his comments of what happened to him 40 years ago, where he showed a moment of vulnerability. Did you hear about this?
I heard about it, but what's it about?
So Liam Neeson is having a conversation with a reporter, and he's promoting his movie, and the movie's about some form of revenge or something like that. And he has a moment where he admits to the reporter, hey, when I was younger, I had a friend of mine get raped by someone. And he turned out to be a black guy. And he says, for an entire week, I was going to the pubs and the bars hoping that some black guy would try to test me so I could kick his ass and kill him. And then he says, I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed that at that time I had those feelings and those irrational fears and thoughts. Now everyone's calling Liam Neeson a racist and that he's hateful and that he wanted to kill. And they're focusing on his feelings at the time, not his actions. Or better yet, they're not focusing on what the context of that story is. Liam Neeson had a moment of truth where he was willing to admit to someone, a reporter. He even says, like, I can't believe I'm admitting this to a reporter. But he admits to, hey, I was at a vulnerable point. I had some very racist thoughts. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed that I thought this way. And I'm a better person now. And I think that should be the focus. But instead, they're like, oh, I'm never going to watch a Liam Neeson show, movie ever again. I'm like,
Yeah, he kind of atoned for it. He apologized and made up for it. Became a better person. I mean, that's the point, at least, I think, of progressivism. I'm not naive about some people. Some people are just can't get to him. But Liam Neeson, yeah, he based on what you said, he's more than made up for. At least he changed his ways.
Well, you can ask the question like, is there no redemption for anybody? And I think that's part of the problem that we have. And it's like someone does something wrong against the culture, against the society, or against another individual. And I can understand wanting your pound of flesh. Like, okay, this guy wronged me. He wronged my people. He wronged my community. Let's go get him. Let's cancel this person. But after that, then what? You can't excommunicate a person completely off the planet. So if I do something wrong, if I murder somebody, if I rape somebody, if I steal from somebody, the laws as we have set, I go to jail, or I'm tried, adjudicated, and I go to jail. And then I do my time, and I get out. But to people now, they're saying like, no, there is no redemption for you. You cannot do your time. Forever, you are a pariah. And I do not like that type, because it means, and it's much how people view people on the left and the right, that there is no political middle, that you have to pick a side. And if you don't pick our side wholeheartedly, completely pick our side, then you must be on the other side. So we're going to push you away. We're going to push you to the left or the right. We're going to push you to the outskirts. We're going to push you so far from society, so far from other humans, so far from any sense of humanity, that the only other people that you can connect with are other pariahs. So now you get this group of people who are either far left politically, far right politically, who are all criminals, who are all rapists, murderers. It's kind of like with the sex registry. You can't live next to a school, and some of these people can't get a job anywhere. They can't get a home anywhere, so they end up living underneath a bridge with other sex offenders or other criminals. And now there are a band of criminals running around with the only thing in common that they know, which is how to victimize people. You don't want that. You want people back in. And in this current society, there's no room for that. There's no room for redemption. There's no room for apologies. There's no room for forgiveness. And I hate it.
Well, the thing is that you're not willing to forgive others when you fuck up that. You realize you put yourself in the trap and you can't be forgiven. So that's different. If he sincerely apologizes and changes sincerely, which I believe he has, based on his actions, how he's been acting over time, then you know what? And that's different. Everybody fucks up. No one's perfect. We should encourage people to change their ways for the better. So that kind of gets back to what I was saying about this Twitch political coalition. That if people on Twitch, at least Twitch, join it, there's enough people, we can become a singular, massive force, strength in numbers, push back collectively against Twitch's policies, against just willy-nilly banning people, not even breaking terms of service, just based on what someone else allegedly said without really looking into it. So more people that join it. So do you like that sort of idea?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will say this, that, so I've been doing this for a while too. I do know the type of things that I can and can't say. Contrary, like, I might have a belief opinion about something, but there's certain things I know that I can't express, or either I have to express very carefully, otherwise I end up either getting, banned or whatever it might be. And there are some people who don't have that wherewithal. For instance, there is a lot of quote unquote hateful rhetoric on, well, let's just say CNN, Fox News, a lot of places. But you don't see these places getting deplatformed, one, because they got a lot of money, but they understand how to discuss an issue without utterly infuriating one group or another. And I think, for those people who want to talk about politics online in the very raw form that we're doing right now, when you're part of a group of all spectrums, you can kind of jump off of each other and kind of teach people how to have these conversations. Like, I can't get on stream right now and just like, man, trans people, what's up with that? Yeah, like, why would you want to cut your penis off? I can't have that type of conversation because it sounds hateful to people. Like, what do you mean you don't understand trans people? While I accept there are trans people in this world, and I wish them Godspeed and happiness. There are some elements of that community that I don't understand. And that's my own ignorance because I don't spend a lot of time with a lot of trans people. But I should be allowed to voice those questions and get information. Now, how I do that is a very tiptoey kind of way. Either you privately message somebody or you find a group, and come with open arms, like, hey, not trying to hate on anybody, but, could you guys tell me about this? Could you tell me about that? And if you want to share those opinions, you try to do it respectfully. For instance, a lot of people talking about the crisis at the border, which absolutely is a crisis. I don't care what anybody says. In fact, I just learned today that they what's the number? I think 2,000. Right now there's like 2,000 people waiting at the border to come in, and then sometimes they have to God, what was it? The number I read today, they had 19 busloads of people that they deported out that had jumped over the border. But the point I'm getting at is, that's a real conversation to have. Immigration laws, the border, the wall, but people think, oh, you're being racist if you support the wall. Like, I don't care about the race of people. I really don't care if they're brown people, black people, Native American people, Chinese people. I really don't care. The fact is that our southern border is not protected in many areas, and it has become a very political issue, and the very people who are against it are people that voted for it in the past, and it's worth having a conversation about. It's worth having a conversation that we don't have the resources or money to feed, give medical assistance, process, house, clothe, some 2,000 people a day. We don't.
We have the money for that, sure. We have money for endless wars. Why can't we let some people who want to be a part of the United States economy and be part of the silent process and
okay, but who's going to vote for it? Because you can't just build a facility out of nothing. So Congress is going to have to put that on the table as part of a budget. Like, hey, we want to build a football-sized stadium, a football-sized, stadium-sized facility to do nothing but process people coming over the border. Well, then the question is, why do I need to spend $1 billion to build a facility the size of a football stadium when we can just build the wall? And then we can focus.
Just keep people out and fuck them?
No. I'm not saying keep people out, but there is a process to go through. There's hundreds of thousands of people get citizenship every year. And these are people that file paperwork, get a lawyer, go through the right channels, and they wait. Well, there is a wait list. That is the truth.
Seeking asylum is perfectly legal.
It is if you meet the requirements of asylum. Walking up to the border and asking to be let in, or not asking, coming in is not asylum. You can't just come for economic reasons. There are no economic refugees. That's according to the UN, that is not a viable reason to seek asylum. If that was the case, then we would let everybody from all over the world come here. Everybody in South Africa, everybody in Djibouti, everybody in Rwanda is like, oh, well, you're poor over there, just come to America. And then what? So if you're poor in Rwanda and you can't read and you got no discernible skills, then what are you going to do? Where are you going to live? Who's going to give you a house? What resources are you going to take to get on your feet to be a productive member of our society?
Hold on, what?
Go ahead.
No, I was saying people always assume that, they're just come here, there's going to be leeches, they're useless, they got no value. In fact, they do come here, even if they're just customers or consumers with money, that they're already contributing to the economy. Consumer spending.
How are you going to consume if you hop in the border? Like, Where are they going to get a job from if it's not legal for them to work here?
It's technically true that they're not carrying a visa, they're not allowed to work here. But
I mean,
fact of the matter is, this country is built. At least a lot of this, a good deal of its economy, especially in the South, is built on these places that hire people who are illegal. I'm not saying it's right. That's just the way it is. Here's the funny thing: they want to act like they want to keep quote unquote undocumented people out or whatever,
but
and then
why?
then on the other hand, hire them, use their labor, and once they kick up a fuss and say, oh, well, you know what? I got people working here, kick them out across about the border. It's just a way to keep a group of people, sort of allowed to come in and then take advantage of the cheap labor and then kick them out when they get more trouble than what they're. But I don't see the big deal. I'm not calling borders, but at the same time, I'm not trying to be xenophobic either. Like for some, the fact of the matter is, for some reason, I see Trump say they come from away. He doesn't mind, or anywhere else, but for some reason he just doesn't want people coming from south of the border. It just seems really.
Well, I don't see this as an issue of xenophobia. Um, but I'm glad you mentioned about the people that hire them. Why would we want to support that industry? Like, we're always complaining as a country that our wages are too low, that people of color are being taken advantage of, that they're making pennies on the dollar of like white people and other things like that. So why would you want more people to come in and get taken advantage of financially and not get their, the wages they deserve? And if they're coming in illegally and people are hiring them, then they're not getting insurance. They're not getting health care. They're getting pennies that a citizen would make, and really they're just coming in as a lower class citizen for slave wages. I wouldn't want to subject someone to
There's
that.
there's a simple solution, or a relatively simple solution. Give them the right to apply for citizenship, so they can work as a protected group of people who can't be exploited like that in the first place.
Well, we already have a system to apply for citizenship.
Except that you have to wait outside the borders. I'm saying come in.
Yes, this is true. That's true. Yeah, you have to wait outside, but
Say, why can't we just let them in, let them partake in the economy, have protections until they can get their citizenship?
Okay, where are they going to live?
Simple as that.
Where are they going to live? Where would you house them?
Well, we can do temporary housing.
Like FEMA tents in the middle of the desert?
Not like that.
So you mean like a home, like an apartment complex somewhere?
Something along them lines.
So who's going to pay for that?
We can. It's an investment in the people and the economy that can be a part of our growing
So
economy.
federal, state,
Yeah, it can be a combination.
a combination. Okay.
Can be. Because here's the thing: people talk about, well, how am I gonna pay for all these things? How am I gonna pay? Well, here's the thing: 70% of our GDP spending, and it's because our consumer spending. We have such a demand for services and for people to have jobs. But first place, because if people don't have money to spend, as a consumer, retail stores shut down, and rich people own a good deal of them, don't make any more extra money, and they go, hey, that's a deal. They keep making to them as a game. It's what it is. It was
I'm gonna
kind
ask.
of
I'm gonna ask you
Yeah.
a rhetorical question. I don't know where you live, but do you have a pothole in your city that the city refuses to fix?
I live in a city where, well, part of Ohio, Southwest Ohio, where they're pretty good about taking care of potholes.
Okay, but you understand the sentiment of what I'm saying, that somewhere in your city there is something that isn't perfect or something that's being ignored for whatever reason. Either they just don't have the will to do it or the money to do it. The point I'm getting at is there is no perfect city in America. There is always something to do. There's always resources to be spent. There's always something to be fixed. There's always a road to be repaired, or a pipeline, or an electrical box, or something, whatever it may be. And a city is only as good as its citizens. If you only got 10 citizens, who are working and paying taxes, then you can't fix a lot of stuff. You know,
Must be a
And
small town.
yeah, right. Now, if you got a big city, and a lot of people with money and the economy is flowing or whatever, then you can go out, you can fix that pothole, you can repair that pipe, you can put up that electrical outlet, or et cetera, et cetera. If you
Well, that
Now, if you invite new people who aren't pulling their own weight, refugees, etc., and if the feds aren't paying it, the state's not paying it, then it comes down to the city, and some of that's going to be on the city. Some of the resources they're going to use is going to be on the city, or it's going to be on the neighborhood, or it's going to be on the local welfare office, or whatever services it is. Many of these places are not equipped to take in a huge influx of people. Take Los Angeles County, they spend $2 billion a year on resources for illegal immigrants. 2 billion would it be? And that includes insurance, housing, welfare, food stamps, etc., etc., etc. I'm sure that $2 billion per year can go to, and this is not me being heartless. It really isn't. I have sympathy for people out there. Um, but I can only have so much sympathy for so many things. That's a huge, huge percentage of the budget dedicated to a group of people who otherwise, in some ways, shouldn't be there in the first place. And I'm not saying that to be mean,
uh,
but that's
well,
that's reality.
the thing is not so much reality as perspective. In the particular narrative that you, quite frankly, been exposed to so long that you think that that's the way it is. In fact, I'd like to argue.
Okay, how's
Um,
this? How's this? Are there are
uh,
there are there homeless veterans on the street in Los Angeles County right now?
there's a total of 40,000 veterans throughout the country, and I was going to bring up here in a little bit another topic I want to talk about, which would actually serve to virtually wipe out poverty, save money compared to what we're doing without cutting any current social programs, and save us money.
I'd love to hear
Um,
that. I'd love to hear that.
oh, okay. But before we get to it, the other point I want to about the pothole idea is that just because things aren't absolutely doesn't mean we can't do them a little bit better than what we're doing now. And it's really no excuse. And if it's a small town with 10 people, then there's not going to be that much infrastructure invested into that. But if you have a city of, say, 10 million people or more, you're going to have a hell of a lot more infrastructure. And it's that infrastructure that allows for widespread and robust and stable economies to take place. And those welfare programs you kind of talk bad about help to actually stabilize economies and keep keep money in the hands of people, depend on businesses, expand business growth and profits, and the ability to either keep the
Oh,
employees that they
oh,
have.
I'm not shitting on welfare, but don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on those type of programs that are lifelines for people that need assistance, who may
Right.
may lose their job, or whatever, befuddlement that they may happen. Those are great programs to keep people from losing everything, and they're really great, and they stabilize communities. I'm not shitting on that. What I'm
All
saying
right.
is, when you have an influx of people who are not native to the community, and I'm not talking about southern people south of the border or anything like that. I'm like anyone. A community is as good as the people who are there. All right, and it doesn't matter whether I'm in a small town in Oklahoma, and then all of a sudden, like we had the hurricane that came in and fucked up New Orleans. What if 5,000 people from New Orleans went to a small town in Oklahoma where they don't have the infrastructure or the resources to support them? But for whatever reason, these people in New Orleans decided, like, hey, we want to go to this town in Oklahoma because it's
At
nice.
last, the observer comes
I
forward.
just got a new follower. You probably heard that. Do you see what I'm
Hey,
trying to get at?
there's a person in your room. I think Sith or person that I thought he was talking about me is crazy. I want to know what I'm talking about. I want to know what he's talking about.
I
But
don't
the
think
idea.
I don't think you're crazy, because I've heard these arguments
Oh no,
before.
no, no. He
He's
said.
saying that. Yeah, right. And I'm saying I don't think you're crazy. Um, because
I'm glad.
I've heard your
I'm glad
arguments
someone
before.
doesn't.
Yeah. I did see someone say that. Um,
I was wondering what he was referring to exactly.
and see, and this is part of the problem of this debate. Because when you get into these discussions, some people, and I'm not saying you are, but some people are saying like, oh, you're being, you're xenophobic. You must not like brown people south of the border. Oh, you must hate these refugees from here. I'm like, no, I don't hate anybody. I understand the
Okay.
reality that certain, this country can only do so much. And I've really,
Yeah.
yes, we spend a lot of money on defense. Yes, we spend a lot of money in the war coffers and whatnot. Uh, there are reasons for that, and I'm not a big fan of war, and I'm not a big fan of like military spending. But I also
Yep.
recognize that that's not going to change anytime soon.
Gotcha, bitch.
And, no politician, Republican or Democrat, is going to take a huge chunk out of defense spending. And one of the reasons
Well,
the reason they're not going to do that because there's shit going on that they're not telling us.
the reason I was saying those things before is I was just trying to see exactly where you're at.
Okay.
At least your position. I was sort of, I wasn't sorry. I was kind of testing you a little bit here and there to see your positions. So you're just saying it would be nice to do these great things for these people, but you're wondering about the practicality. Is it possible with the realm of what we could do? Is it realistic? It is. And if you have anything else to add to that, after I'll tell you my idea that now, and without cutting any current social.
And go for it. Now, I think I've argued my position. I do have an idea that I think would fix the problem, but would mean shitting on a group of people for 2 years. But I can explain that at a later date. But go ahead, spit it out.
Okay, sure. Have you ever heard of something called a universal basic income?
Absolutely, and there is a pathway to that I do see happening, but probably not for another 30 years.
Well, actually, it can happen a bit sooner, probably before 2030, if at least people like me properly educate the country on it. The idea, if anyone's listening, is that basic income is every adult citizen, whether they work or not, or they're rich or not, gets $1,000 a month from the government, and they spend it on whatever they like. And the fact of the matter is, what we're spending on poverty, existing symptoms related to crime, health issues, and lot of activity are actually more expensive than the net cost of a basic income by about at least estimate about $100 billion a year. And we can do it without cutting any current welfare programs, because some people on the far right try to suggest that we got cut everything, even Social Security, which is like Charles Murray. He's a fucking idiot. He's a right-wing libertarian snake.
Wait,
Cool.
Charles Manson is a right-wing libertarian snake? Is that what you said?
Sorry, Charles Murray. Murray.
Charles Murray. Okay, I don't know who that is. By the way, your mic's breaking up. I think it's an issue with Discord. If we do this again, we'll probably have to find a better service to speak on.
How much did you?
I'm getting 90% of what you say. Just some little clicks and dropouts here and there.
Shit, I'm hearing you just fine.
Yeah. Then maybe it's a bandwidth issue, probably on your end. If you're hearing me just fine, and you're dropping out for me, then it's got to be a bandwidth issue on your end.
We have a Chicago here that says Charles Murray is the author of The Bell Curve. I don't know if he's a Charles Murray fan, but Charles Murray is suggesting is just basic income is just how to be implemented in particular.
Well, let me just say very quickly that we can't have universal income until we solve. There's a few vital resource milestones we have to get to offer universal income. I don't think we can do that until we have robots building our homes and autonomous vehicles, and probably another technology that I just can't think of right now. There were like 3 that I used to think of. For instance, what good is a universal income if you can't afford to live in that community? And that costs a lot of money to build housing for people. And I'll give you San Francisco, for example, where I live. We do not have enough housing. And there's no more space to build on. And the city of San Francisco will not permit any new buildings. They do a little bit here and there, but by and large, they will not permit any new building. So, once we get to the point that we have technology where robots can take raw materials, and can chop their own wood and stir their own mortar and cement, and can build apartment complex, condos, or just giant projects anywhere with little regulations, then we can start talking about universal income, because we still need people to do work. We still need people to pave roads, fix pipes, water, the very infrastructure that people need. Until that happens, you can't just give out money, to people. There has to be a return.
So you'd rather do the more expensive option that's less effective now because of people need jobs? And by the way, Jay Nasty's like beta male shit. Beta male takes one to know one. Anyway,
Well, yes, people need jobs, but here's the thing: if you give them if universal income happens, and you have robots replacing those jobs, the menial work. I always say that there was a point in time where it was someone's job to shovel coal into a steam engine. That no longer exists now. So whoever used to do that job to shovel coal into the steam engine of a locomotive, either he died and starved to death, or he found another profession to do. But there was that transitional period where the modern locomotive came about, or the vehicle, or whatever it was that made his job obsolete. So either he learned a new trade, or he didn't. He either starved to death or went on to do something else. If you're talking about universal income, you would need to replace the work that people are doing now. So either you're going to get robots
why
to
is
be
that?
Why?
Well, I'm trying to tell you that. Shit, I'm getting echo back from you, or at least from my mic to your headphones. But the thing is, we're doing the more expensive option right now. That's less effective, letting poverty exist. Basic income would virtually wipe it out. Based through lots of little tests that have been done on all over the world, showing that it greatly reduces poverty existing. And poverty existing really is a cancer on the society. Much of our economy is getting more and more automated. So if that's your issue, then we're kind of heading down that path right now. It's just that people will still continue to work jobs. Many test pilots, basic income has shown that people do still work jobs and end up becoming a little bit more productive.
But why would I work if you're going to give me free money?
Because can you live off $1,000 a month?
I can't.
You can.
But I can't. But I do know people that do work a 40-hour week, and don't have that. Well, they have $1,000, but like, there are some people who can. Okay. Now, if you're talking, it depends on where you're at. But if you're saying like whatever arbitrary number it is, like, okay, we're just going to give people $1,000 a month, for a universal income, and they can do whatever they want with it, and they'll spend it back into the community. There has to be a return. Why? How is this going to either benefit the city, the state, or the government unless there's an exchange? And that's why I'm saying robotics has to come in and replace that labor that people are doing now. If you do that, then you can give universal income to people and expand that further. If you allow people to do what they want to do, not what they have to do. Nobody wants to be a barista. Nobody wants to shovel shit. Nobody wants to work, on the sewage line. None of that shit. Now, if you give people the opportunity to do whatever they want, you guarantee somebody a 12 by 12 room with a bathroom and a sink. You give them, enough money to live off of, enough money to get some food, keep the lights on, enough money to go get a coffee or whatever. But you also guarantee their education. So a lot of people do work not because they want to work, because they have to. If I didn't, well, I love my job right now, but if I were if I were a barista and you told me you don't have to do that anymore, there's no telling what I could do. I would either, I might become a doctor, or I might become an artist or a painter, or who knows what I might do, but you have to replace the labor.
Not really, because the labor will still be there. Most people that that's the assumption that people have basic income. Oh, people will just become lazy. And everybody will quit their job. If you gave them $10,000 a month,
well, some
maybe.
will.
Some will, but then there'll be others that'll say, you know what, I'm making $1,000 a month, plus I can get a job, make some more on top of that, and that's what they'll do. And many test pilots of basic income have shown people become more productive, not less productive. and they
I'm aware
still
of those
pretty.
studies. By the way, I'm aware of those studies that in some places universal income does work. What I'm saying is I don't see how it benefits without replacing the labor lost. I don't see how it benefits the community to just give away free money. That's why I said you need massive advancements in robotics to replace the labor before you can do a massive universal income program.
Well, the thing is, it's not so much the way we have a law that's being passively done that's more expensive in the end than a basic income program. But you're trying to say that if we do basic income, some whole bunch of people would quit. I'm sure some would, but not everyone. Most people still work. You know, just for $1,000 a month, even you say you can't quit your job. At least you have a part-time job, and I'm sure that whatever job you do work is probably, I don't know if you like it or not. You'll probably end up staying there because it's extra money.
Okay, well, let's use San Francisco as an example. So I'm looking at the numbers right now. As of 2014, the city is believed to have 7,000 homeless residents. That's 14. Oh, there's got to be way more than that.
Oh, let me say real quick. Let me say, Sponge says, laugh out loud. Communist dream. In communism, there's no money, no state, no classes. So this basic income actually strengthens capital, makes it more stable and robust. Wasn't there a problem with UBI Experiment Canada? No, Doug Ford cut that program short when he said the program was working just fine. And they're actually taking his ass to court because he basically broke his promise or law, some sort of. And yeah, they're taking him to court to try to get it reinstated. Sithor says nothing is free in this world. Well, yeah, you're right. Except that letting poverty exist expensive than doing a basic income. That's what people don't fucking get. I don't know why they don't get it. Hey, Killer Stevens reading your room.
Oh, dude, I just got a host. Thank you so much. Killer Steven is now hosting my stream with 25 viewers. Oh, appreciate it. Okay, I'm looking at some numbers. Homelessness in the Bay Area, an estimated 25,951 people are living without homes in the Bay Area as of last year. 25,000 homeless people in the Bay Area.
So the entire United States is just like San Francisco in terms of cost and home.
No, but San Francisco is the absolute worst case in the country next to Los Angeles, where
they're major cities. They're going to have big city problems.
Well, San Francisco is actually a really small city, but their policies were very inviting to homeless people all over the country, which is why they came here. The vast majority of homeless people in San Francisco are not native to the state. They came from all over. In fact, I believe San Francisco, or the state of California, sued Arizona for putting homeless people on Greyhound buses and shipping them over here because we would give them resources. We ended up suing them for like a couple $1 million to like pay for the people they sent to us.
Well, that's fair. If they want to sue those other states for purchase,
well, look how
giving up on their responsibility to homeless.
New York, Giuliani put a lot of people on one-way buses, and in fact, if I remember the story correctly, a lot of the homeless people during, I want to say 2009, 2010, they gathered up all their homeless, had all their paperwork pre-filled out for them, and said, yo, one-way ticket to California. As soon as you get there, go to the welfare office, give them this paperwork, you'll get money. So we had a huge explosion around that time. They did like a town hall meeting where a lot of homeless people came out and said, like, yeah, we came from New York. A guy just came to us one day and gave us some paperwork and told us to come here. They gave us a bus ticket. And yo, if I remember at the time, I don't know what the number is right now, you get $750 a month cash, no questions asked, for being homeless in San Francisco. That number might have fluctuated from time to time. Like I said, I know people who work a 40-hour week and ain't got an extra $700 at the end of the month.
When they get the $700 a month and they get a job, do they lose the benefit?
These people ain't working. These people are not working. They're spending on heroin. And I'm not saying this to be funny.
Gotcha, bitch.
I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this is the act, because I see this every day. These people take this money, they go get heroin, they shoot up right in front of department stores, right in front of the bus station, right in front of the BART station, in front of the bus stop. There are needles fucking everywhere in San Francisco. Just just last year, December of last year, they instituted a new committee, a new group where they're spending 10 million a year just to pick up needles. That's it.
What I'm,
They spend
what
10
I'm
million
saying,
a year just to pick up hypodermic needles.
what I'm saying, the drug problem is a problem, definitely.
Yes.
But I'm saying, these people when they get this $750 a month, if they somehow get a job, will they end up losing it because they're making?
Wait, so are you advocating that for them to get this money that they have to work?
No, I'm asking you if the current system does that.
Does the current system give them money every month for nothing? Is that what you're asking?
No.
Okay.
I'm asking you if these people do want to straighten up and get a job, do they lose that $750 a month if they get a job making over a certain amount?
Do they lose the money if they get a job? Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yes. And
God, I hear it. My
and
connection is fucking horrible.
and that's the
What the
case
hell's
for a
going on?
lot of welfare programs in this country, not just California. As
The
a
welfare
person,
trap.
as a person who grew up on welfare, and man, I was almost in tears last month. My mother told me about us being on welfare when I was younger, and I asked her like, what made you get off of it? And she said, I got tired of playing the game and trying to hide my money. Because where I lived in the state of Oklahoma, if you wanted welfare, they'll give it to you. If you got extra kids, they'll give you welfare, but you can't have the father in the home. You can't have a job making money, and you can't go to school. All of those things make you dependent on the state. And it's sickening. Like the very things that would allow someone the opportunity to get off welfare and be self-sufficient, the welfare, agency is like, no, you can't go educate yourself. You can't get a good job. You can't have a man in the house. If you do either of those things, we will take away the resources from you, the lifeline that you need. So you're encouraged not to have a second income by having a man in the house, the father or a boyfriend or whatever it is. You're encouraged not to succeed at your craft or your career. They're like, oh, if you get a raise, oh, we're going to take the money from you. And you're encouraged to not better yourself, not to go out and
Well,
get a trade,
because
not to get educated.
it's a welfare trap. I mean, I totally understand that basic income doesn't have that. It's $20,000 a year to job. You still get the $12,000 over the course of the year, so you get kind of close to a
And
middle of the road income. So there's no welfare trap.
yeah,
No
but
people
here's a
make below certain amount.
but here's a
Yeah.
real question, and I'm not trying to not trying to trap you into a gotcha question.
Hmm.
It sounds like you're advocating a form of communism.
It's not communism.
Well, let me phrase it. I'm asking, are you advocating a form of communism?
It's not communism. Basic income is not communism.
So
Communism is
socialism.
no, it's not socialism because it's still private property and there's don't meet the production. This actually strengthens capitalism.
Okay, so what would you call it? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm asking you.
So you can call it whatever you want, but it's not communist, not socialist. Because communism, there's no state, no money, and no classes. In socialism, there's no private property rights,
Right,
no private property, and the worker is on the means of production. Does the basic income get rid of it? No. Does the basic income make the workers in control of all the means of production? No, it don't. Does it get rid of currency? No, it is currency. It gives you currency. Does it get rid of the state? No. So it's neither one.
That sounds like socialism with more steps.
But it's not. The old anything that the government does with taxes is socialist art. Is that what it is?
No, I'm fucking with you, man. It's like, man, that sounds like socialism with more steps. No, I'm fucking with you. Well, it kind of sounds like you're saying just give free shit to people, and hopefully they make the right decisions with the free shit. Is that what you're saying?
See, here's the thing. People say, "Oh, it's free shit." It makes things. Well, people are free to use the roads, right? Except, does that make roads and highways useless or libraries useless? No. Think of it as public or social security. It's cheap. In the end, it'd be cheaper than what we. I know it sounds fucking weird, and it's definitely it's a narrative change, and it's a different way of thinking because we've been pounded in our heads in the United States with right wing narrative that if you suck and if you're rich, you're God. And poverty is a lack of cash. It's not a lack of character, and poverty really is more expensive in the end. Basic income's net cost. I mean, it sounds so fucking whack, but
Well,
that's the way it is.
I believe poverty is a lack of effort.
No, not necessarily.
And I'll tell you why. I tell you why, because before you call me a right winger, and I'm not saying you're going to, but just so I clarify things,
Mm.
I've lived in various forms of poverty. I was born in Lawton, Oklahoma, was raised in Greenville, Mississippi. Uh, I was raised in the house on the very property of the plantation uh, that my great grandfather was oppressed on, and we didn't have a lot. Um, but throughout my life, all of my caretakers instilled in me work hard, work hard, work hard. One of my heroes is Frederick Douglass, who goes on about, yo, work hard, you will succeed. If you want great things in life, if you want education, get out there and work. I do not know, and I do not know of anybody on this planet that does not put 100% into what they do that are not successful.
Well, let me
I
say this.
I don't know of
Let me
any
say this.
scenario in which someone works their ass off, does not become successful.
Hey, let me say this. Two things. Hey, Doxy Proxy. I eat my stream. Hey, Doxy Proxy. Guess who it is? You know who it is. The everyday fucking pinko kami, I guess.
Are you beefing with somebody in my chat room?
No, Doxy Proxy frequents my stream a lot.
Okay.
Him, he's right of center. Him and I mess around a lot. So,
Okay.
so he's cool. He's good. But yeah. The thing is, most people who are on welfare or poor work jobs, and very few people who are actually dirt poor or just the bums that we all hear about. It's just not a narrative that's not necessarily true. Some people are not poor are poor because they don't work or they're literally just professional bums. Some people don't. But is that an excuse to keep a system that's more expensive, less effective?
Say that one more time because you're cutting out a little bit. One more time. Give me the last bit of that.
Damn. I'm saying just because some people are professional bums, even though most people on welfare, most people who are work jobs, okay, even though there's some small percentage of people who are professional bums,
Okay.
is that an excuse to keep doing the more expensive, less effective option of letting poverty exist?
Well, no, I don't think that's the issue. We want to incentivize people to do their best. We want to give people not only the opportunity to be successful, but we also want them to live in a society where they see that as long as I put in the work, that good things will come to me. Now, I heard you say, like, professional bums. Yeah, there's always going to be people out there that just don't give a fuck, and there's that small percentage is going to be there. Humans naturally want to do things. Like,
Yeah.
regardless of how easy you make life for me, yo, you could give me 20 million right now, I will still find work to do. Because
Well,
humans
there you
innately-
go. There you go. Give people basic income. They become even just as productive for the most part. And there you go.
Well, but I don't think that's not the issue. Isn't universal income. I'm just saying because I'm human and because I think and I process information and I manifest realities in my brain and I think of things that I want to do, I will go out there and do something. Not because you gave me money, because I'm inquisitive and you can't just put me in a box and put a TV in front of me and satisfy me. I have to go out there and create something. And that's just
Well-
humanity.
Well, a lot of people feel the same. Most people feel get out there, go and go to a bar, go to a restaurant, go to the theater, interact with people, get out there and do things because most people are that's very social. They want to do think of the action. And a basic income is not going to make them or a bunch of bums. It's just a narrative that we got people like me got to change in this country based on the But I am cutting out a lot apparently.
Yeah, but again, who's gonna pay for it?
We're already paying for the more expensive right now.
The welfare system?
No, letting poverty exist. Welfare doesn't solve poverty.
True.
Welfare is a band-aid on poverty.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't. It's a welfare trap, and I totally agree. But we can do a basic income on top of that would actually end up saving us money compared to what we're doing now. Letting poverty exist.
I think housing is far more important than a basic universal income.
Well, if people want to take that basic income and get a house, get a better place, they got the freedom to do that.
But I hear what you're saying, but you need physical real estate to put people somewhere, and that is
We got tons of empty houses that have been foreclosed on. Tons of those. It's just sitting there for nothing.
so. Are you advocating that these banks give them away?
No, they can sell them to the government for a reasonable price, or if they want to. I mean, hell,
So you're
investors,
advocating the
investors.
government take away private property from people
No, not take away. Buy.
for what? So for the asking price?
Well, some of these places you can get relatively cheap all over. Where I live in Southwest Ohio, you can give me a house that's needs, is a livable house. You can get one for like maybe, if you pay cash, probably like 35 to 40,000 for a decent house.
I mean, if you're saying we just
Um,
want you want to pick up all the bums from San Francisco and move them out to Ohio, like yo, I'm down with that.
well, you can. I'll just.
we can take all the
But
bums,
we got plenty of houses all.
throw them in Ohio. That I'm good with that. Yeah, that's fine. No, I'm not really. Well, actually, I am good with that. That would clean up the hypodermic needle issue real quickly. But you're talking about the government
Chicago.
managing this property. So
Well, they
then
wouldn't
just
manage it. It's
They would have to manage it.
well, they could be the landlord until the investor wants to come buy it at a decent price, and then the landlord could own it again if they want to do that. I'm saying there's different options that just need to be worked.
Mm. Believe it or not, we're both on the same page about a universal income. Just how we get there, I think what we differ on. I don't see it happening for another 20 to 30 years. You're seeing a possibility of it happening within 5. Am I correct?
Well, before 2030.
For 2030, yeah. I think the only way we can get to universal income is we have to replace the labor that's lost.
Well, how much labor would you think would be lost?
Well, I think you would have to replace all the menial labor. So,
Mm.
painters, baristas, people working at the bookstore, people working at the music store, anybody flipping burgers and shit, you got to replace that shit first. You can do that. That can be done in the next 15 to 20. I do believe that we can automate a lot of those just boring ass menial tasks in that amount of time. And
Well, we're part of the way of doing that right now with especially when McDonald's got these little kiosks where you don't need to talk to a person to order a burger. You just press buttons on the screen.
well, and we have a automated burger place in San Francisco where you just type on the screen the burger you want and the robot makes it. Actually, let me rephrase that. Actually, it has the same number of workers that a regular restaurant would have. They're just not in front. They're loading the machines with the meat and the bread and the patties and things like that. But you don't see them, and occasionally they come out and like sweep the floor and stuff. But it is mostly almost 90% like an automated experience. And apparently the burger tastes really good too.
Hmm.
You know,
I mean, automation is a good thing if I think about it, if it's done the right way.
it's a very good thing. It is the wave of the future. You know, I like I said, I really want to see robots start building our houses.
But even then, even you admitted earlier that if you had a basic income of $1,000 or even a lot more money, you still work a job or do something that's productive, right?
Yeah, well, I yes, but I don't. I think that $1,000 is pennies. It wouldn't make
But it's better than nothing.
well, if I wasn't working, yeah, please give me $1,000 a month. Or if I'm making
Yeah.
less than that, yeah.
Just think of it as you getting $1,000 a month just for being an American citizen. God bless USA. You know what I mean? Think of that.
USA, USA.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I would like to see studies more on how it would help the most disenfranchised of us. You know.
Well, if you want, there's a website called basicincome.org, and it's got links to articles, news, a whole bunch of information on. It's separate articles, mind you. It's in the studies and the tests that you can begin to look into. Saying just keep an open mind about it, and I think it's what we got to do is make it more human focused, and that would make capitalism and much more sustainable than it is now. It would actually end up, if we did a basic income like I've described, it would actually grow the GDP by $2.5 trillion.
Someone in the
add
chat
to
room
the GDP.
asked, do illegals in the U.S. get basic universal income?
No, you have to be a citizen.
Okay,
And if you get caught doing fraud, that means jail time.
I support that. Anything that helps, getting our vets and our other homeless people off the street, I support that. Or at least
This would
help
definitely do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we're on the same page.
But it's like I wish I could talk to some of your people, Mike to Mike. So breaking up because I have a high speed internet connection hardwired from my computer to my router, and I got download speeds fucking like 100 megabits a second, and upload about just about the same. I don't
And
know why Discord is giving me so much trouble.
it's a Discord issue. You said you hear me perfectly, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Then it's got to be a Discord issue. I've had this issue before, so I don't know what it is. Chicago. Yeah. Since we're cutting out, I'm gonna end this conversation. It's been fun. I do want to talk to Chicago for a bit since he's been begging me to chat with him.
Hey man, it's good talking to you, man.
Let's
If you want to check out my stream because I stream almost every day around 8 Saturday.
absolutely. Let me add myself. Oh, I'm already a member of your yeah. Well, I'll message you sometime. Yeah, we'll let's try to put a stream crew together. See if we can do like once a week where we just talk about the political issues of the week, from whatever perspective, and run with it. I'll do that once a week.
That and grow the Twitch political coalition back against Twitch being so goofy with their lame bans that have no basis.
Dude, I'm down with Twitch politics. Dude, I have direct contacts inside of Twitch right now that if we can put together something structured and friendly, I can get us focused on the front page.
Oh fuck yeah, that's sweet, man. Man, that was a good topic.
Absolutely, man. All right, take care.
You too, thanks.
All right, that wasn't so bad. Hey, Chicago, what's going on?
How's it going, man?
Good, 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 good.
Hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Good.
How's it going, man? Good, good.
Should I close my Twitch or should I
Yes.
close my Discord?
Close your Twitch. Or mute it. Just mute it. Just mute your Twitch.
Okay. Good. Taking my call, man.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I saw you wanted to talk. So, yo, I'm here. That was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in one of the previous comments, I thought it was every single discussion he was about to mount was really poignant. I just kind of thought a lot of his comebacks, his points were kind of half truth or kind of misinformed, and he was really kind of to opening up his mind to your points. Whereas I think we can all see your channel. You're very open to his. You're not trying to put words in his mouth and so forth. And I just kind of thought some of his points were just bordering on a good conversation, but he was kind of resistant to listening to some of your points.
A little. I think everything's a half truth. When you think you know it all. And I feel that way about some things, and other people feel that way about other things. So as long as you're willing to listen, I'll hear people out.
Yeah, I think that with all these different people coming in talking about setting up a Twitch channel or having political channel, something like that, especially in this sort of current climate of people just wanting to really just judge people rightly or wrongly. One of the things that I think is just to not be so not hypocritical, but just to really be able to open to change your mind if you really do find that you're wrong. And that's something that I immediately picked up. I think when I came on yesterday, I've only recently found your channel not more than a couple of days ago. I actually got linked there from a guy called Axe Truth or something like that. Just basically kind of black conservatives that I've been catching on. So
Axe
really
Truth?
Yeah, he wears a funny Groucho Marx, but he kind of trips. The tone of his channel is very different than yours because he's the flamboyant's the right word, but he's very over the top.
Okay.
He's very MAGA hat. He's very, very pro-Trump to the point where you can kind of think that he's maybe trying to prove a point or he's trying to gain an audience.
Dude, that's very lucrative. Going full MAGA, and having a web presence. Believe me, I understand the path to financial success in politics. My conscience won't allow me to do that. But Bo, dude, if I wanted to go like full hardcore right wing and just parrot out the common right wing talking points and just talk to the choir, dude, I'd have 10,000 followers, in 24 hours. Okay, maybe
I
48
don't,
hours.
I don't think you'd be breaking any new ground. I think a couple people are already onto that path, and they're cutting through it.
Yeah, but the thing is, and I have a lot of right wing friends, and I've been to a lot of protests, and people have gravitated to me a lot. A lot of people just beg me like, yo, put content out, put content and stream. Yeah, Jesse Lee Peterson style, who's not
Sure.
very articulate, but he's a black man and there's something about white folks who are on the right who really want to see black folks speaking to them. Um, I don't know what it is. Candace Owens is a great example. I love
I mean,
Candace to death. I love Candace to death. I knew Candace before she blew up. I respect Candace. I just saw her a couple weeks ago in person. Um, but
but she's got a taste of blood in the water, though. Like you can tell, she maybe saw
yeah.
that first check
yeah.
coming in and some validation, and she really went with it. I'm not trying to fault her, because what I was going to say about that.
Oh no, that money, dude. I saw it coming. Dude, she got that white people money. As soon as that white
Sure.
people money came in, oh, she was on that shit.
So it's actually pretty obvious that there's a lot of people wading into that. What I think is more of an interesting discussion is, right, like how come that's come into vogue, and why, as you've stated, as your personal experience that you're sharing, is like, why are they so thirsty for it, right? Like, what is it about them perhaps coming through to continue that analogy, coming through the desert so thirsty? And I think it's just being constantly shit on in every direction, all mediums, all contexts, private and personal,
Yeah.
all sorts of ways that you encounter encounter your life. And then they finally see someone who, you have the shield of blackness in this current context. You can say things that they can't, and when you just offer them, just dangle something that they've been thinking about, I think it's like a drink of water out of the desert, man. Just be like, wow.
It's like confirmation bias.
Absolutely.
It's a confirmation bias coming from a voice that they don't expect to hear it from.
That's what I think people like Candace Owens, Jesse Peterson, to a certain degree, Tommy Sotomayor, various people, Silk and Diamond and Silk and Diamond. I think they see that, but
I don't like Diamond and Silk. I mean, I'm sure they're wonderful people. I just don't like their content. And Tommy Sotomayor,
over the top.
He was on Twitch for a little while, for like a week, and they kicked him out. He made a lot of money real fast. I don't know if he ever got his money, but he was getting tons of bits and donations while he was on Twitch. All Tommy had to do was stop calling women whores. If he would have just taken that language out of his content, he might still have a platform. But, and as I was saying earlier, when I was talking to the gentleman about how to have conversations about trans people, or how to have conversations about people south of the border, there's certain language that you can't use. But you can still articulate yourself and get that point across. Tommy Sotomayor could still talk about black women being scandalous and untruthful in other areas, or focus on those type of stories, but he would do it in such a way that was just so blatantly provocative and hateful. And I'm like, yo, you're not gonna, when you're in that business, the business of making content for the masses, you have to pretend like it's really for the masses. And you don't just want that money from like the far right or the far left. You want to get that right, and you want to get that right of center too. And eventually you're going to want that center, and eventually you're going to want those people, left to center too. So you want to avoid alienating an audience.
But I mean, just to take this conversation to a 30,000 foot view of American philosophy, like it seems very un-American to even have to say like, well, I should have to put my speech into guardrails so that I can continue to reap the benefits, though I'm not hurting anyone. I have to, otherwise they'll cut off my funding. Which again, it's not.
I agree with you.
But I just think it's Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, whoever's currently under the sort of, liberal leanings where they're silencing voices on the right. I just think it's, hypocritical for them to come down even on it doesn't matter if Tommy's black or white or whatever, but it's his speech, right?
Yes.
Like, able to have the right to offend. I actually believe in that very deeply, and I just think it's kind of losing the value. Like we're talking about we're not seeing the forest for the trees, right? We're talking about can he get this 10,000 subscribers? What if they cancel TNN Raw 1 but he goes to 2? Like that's all bullshit conversation that in a country that is built on the principles of, especially when you're talking about other countries not having this one vetted right, like it just seems very hypocritical.
There's a couple of upcoming decentralized video streaming services. There was one that almost got off the ground and they had to stop for like legal reasons. I don't know what that is. I guess, if you filmed yourself kicking a baby down a flight of stairs and you can't delete it, like you don't want to be behind that type of shit. But there are a few in the works that are in beta and they're gonna go expand out further. All it takes is one.
The technology. Yeah, I think the market's been created.
All it takes is one of those services that are decentralized, so you're not tied to a platform or server farm or anything like that, and
one set of moderators and with their policy, right?
I mean, you do need some policy, like I don't want to be on a service that allows rape. Like I think that's where I would, or kicking babies down a flight of stairs. Like I think that's where I draw the line. But beyond that, like I think you should be able to create whatever type of content you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone or advocating hurting anyone, and you let the free market of ideas play it out for you.
Gotcha, bitch.
If you want to get out there and say how much you hate black people, fine, get out there and say how much you may hate black people. You won't get a lot of people, to like co-sign on your ideas, but you should be able to say that. And if you really don't like it,
you should have the right to destroy your reputation in America.
Absolutely. And I should have the right to get up on your show while you're talking about how you hate niggers so much. Tell you how stupid you are.
Yeah, you should. Westboro Baptist Church all the way. But I mean, actually, I shouldn't even said that because they're actually sort of landmark cases. That's such a bad example.
What was her name? Was it Cindy Sheehan? The leader of the Westboro, well, the female.
No, that's Shirley Phelps Roper is the one
Yeah.
that spokesperson for Westboro Baptist. Shirley Sheehan would be I think the mother of one of the kids.
Right. Phelps. She's playing the game, or she was playing the game. She's not that hateful. There's a video of her
Gotcha, bitch.
and this gay guy, this flamboyant gay guy, who comes up on her and is allegedly one of her best friends. And he's like, hey Shirley, and she's like, oh hey Mark, and he's doing the selfie thing. He's like, I'm here with Shirley. She loves me. We're really good friends. And you see her not completely dismiss the guy. Like it's clear that she knows him and she knows him well, and she's kind of giggling a little bit. I think Shirley was playing the game that they'd get out there to like these soldier funerals and things like that, just hoping somebody would try to take a swing at him, because she's a lawyer. She's a lawyer by trade. She was hoping somebody would like try to swing at. She's trying to get the city to either shut them down to get the money, and sue for like civil liberties or something like that.
They're like professional agent provocateurs.
Yes. I don't believe she's as hateful as. And I saw her daughters on the Tyra Banks show once, and they're doing the rhetoric like, oh yeah, God's gonna come down and kill the gays, or not kill them, but judge the gays, and God's gonna judge these people. And Tyra asked her two daughters, what do you guys like doing for fun? And they went from this very stone face, and they like, oh, fun.
Teen girl, right? Yeah.
And they turned into little girls. Like the teenage girls, like, oh, we like going to the movies, and we like ice cream and stuff. And just that snap where you got them out of that zone and to be real people. I was like, oh, this is all a front. And look,
if you actually watch her interview with Rogan's podcast a while back, maybe a couple years back, she's actually a eloquent and apparently very sensitive young lady. So it's an excellent example of a person who really reputation, who can actually to use a word that was used before, redeem themselves. It's actually kind of inspirational. I actually wanted to segue, Ryoga, into our previous conversation and the listing of your YouTube video. Black people are so receptive to this playing up for the cameras and keeping up this image of united blackness and outrage, and like I don't believe that the people really think that Jussie Smollett is like this icon of their cause, and he's the trench that they want to die in for the cause. I don't think so.
Nobody knew who he was a week ago. Let's be real. I mean, some people knew him, but he's
straight up.
Yeah.
What's up? What is that similar thing that is knowing in Shirley Phelps Roper that she's got gay friends, but she sees that check, and so she's gonna keep that gravy coming in. Like, what's up with? I said to you yesterday through the chat, I don't actually hold the individual black person responsible, nor do I really hold the community responsible. It seems very obvious to me, even against the wishes of the masses, that the leftist media, specifically the left-leaning liberal Democrat-controlled media, is catering just to this part of the black identity. It's not any other part except the anger and that you're under, your racism is in your life.
Oh, that black people are always under attack, blah, blah. Yeah,
why is that ground so fertile for them to sow those kinds of seeds of dissent?
Because it makes money. Dude, I just saw today.
Why just them? Why not? I mentioned to you yesterday, like,
it's something boring to us. It's something that is so intrinsic to the black community. I'll give you an example. So here, not a specific example, but it's something that I've experienced before. Let's say I'm just out with my homeboys, or in some random location, and somebody says, or somebody in the distance says the N-word. Everybody I'm with, as long as they black, we gonna all collectively get up and confront that person.
Yeah.
Or if they say something even half racist or something even slightly offensive, there's something about black people.
Check this out, brother. I got that beat. Actually, this is a true story. I used to do security up on the north side, not too far from the incident we're talking about, up on Irving Park.
Okay.
And it was, long line. We were at capacity. I'm doing the clicker in my hand, and up front, like it's packed. It's kind of a hole in the wall bar, but it's packed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right up front are these like two white boys, and they're pretty hammered, and they're like, why won't I let them in?
Mm-hmm.
Why won't I let them in? And I actually haven't mentioned for this conversation yet, but I'm actually a Chinese American. Okay. And so they obviously had a problem with it, and it's getting racial immediately. I didn't say anything, but like they were just beefing because they couldn't get in. Now, I know the tactic to handle two drunk white boys when they get racial. Okay. So without even a cue, I didn't lead into it. The conversation was just basically like, I just pretended like they said it. And I said it real loud. It's like, hey, what'd you say? Mm-hmm. And they're like, what are you talking about? I say, hey man, you don't need to get racial with my partner here over not getting in. They're like, what? I didn't say anything. And then I said the key words, hey man, I don't appreciate you calling my boy a nigger.
And everyone perked up.
Yeah, so there's like six black guys in the back, and then behind them is 10 more. And they're like, what they say that trans boy? Hey man, that's the last time I'm gonna hear you say the word nigger to my partner here. Confused as fuck, right? They don't know what's going on. Now they turn around, they've got to do, hey, what'd you say to that boy? What'd you say? Hey, what? It's done. I've done this before. I've sicked black people online on drunk white people. So I know it works. So, I mean, I'm guilty of that, but I'm just saying, like, it is definitely something where like black people will defend black people to the point where I kind of think even white people like notice that they won't. Bill Burr makes a good point about, there's a animated cartoon about this where he's like on a train and there's a black guy who won't get on, and he's basically like yelling at all the white people on the train, and people like white people are like, shouldn't we all get mad at some point and like get together and beat this guy down or something? But it doesn't work that way. And I'm just curious, like,
it's, I don't know when I first learned that was a thing, but I know I learned that was a thing. That if anybody says something about your people,
all go.
You all go. You look around and find the next black person around, and I'll give an example. As a matter of fact, let me bring up this story. Brendan Saab on the Ultimate Fighter tells this Kimbo story. Kimbo Slice story. I think this will like perfectly explain it. Yeah, here we go. See if you can hear this. Let me bring it up.
Tom, tell a story about Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice
When
on
you-
Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, when you guys were doing that.
They didn't even show this on the air. So
Oh, I'm not showing it. Hold on.
this guy, I'm not gonna mention his name, on the show, he lost.
Uh-oh, I'm missing one of my windows. Where is it? There it is. Alright, let's bring this up. You guys are gonna like this. I love this story.
Tom, tell a story about Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice
When
on
you-
Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, when you guys were doing that.
They didn't even show this on the air. So this guy, I'm not gonna mention his name, on the show, he lost, and you can drink all the alcohol you want in the house. And there's only, at the time, there's only 4 of us left still fighting. Roy, Marcus Jones, Mitrione, myself. That's the 4 fighting, right?
So one of you guys, one of the other guys is hammered.
Hammered, wasted. All of a sudden, this guy gets super racist in the house, and there's a bunch of black guys in the house. Starts throwing up racial slurs and throwing up these, you know, the Hey Hitler stuff, Heil Hitler stuff.
Write his name on this piece of paper for me.
All right. So he starts doing all this stuff. I'm sleeping. I have the biggest fight of my life the next day. And I thought it was a dream. Kimbo Slice and Marcus Jones and this D'Amico Rogers comes in my room and they go, "Yo, Shab, get up, dog. Get up, man." I'm like, huh? Why is there 3 large black guys around my bed? Kim goes, "Yo, man, this dude's down there talking about our people. We're about to jack them up." I thought I was in a dream. I go, "Excuse me?" "He's talking about our people, dog. Let's go F this dude up." I'm like, "Listen, you guys realize," I said, "I'm not down with the race thing, but you realize I'm not black, right?" Kim goes, "You ain't black?" I go, "No, man." He goes, "Damn, that's crazy." Turn around, leave, and I hear, "That's why I like Shab. You can't tell what the hell he is." Keep going. And then I go, "Hey, Kimbo, that's racist, dog." He goes, "Why?" I go, "Just because I'm athletic and can fight, I got to be black." He goes, "You could be," and keeps going.
Oh, I love that story. But no, that's some real shit, man. Like that's
for real.
shit. You
So
talk,
I mean, I guess
you talk about our people, like we got to check you, and I think that's probably it. Like, if you let that shit pass, and that might just be a black thing. Like everyone in the culture knows, if somebody says some racist shit to you, you got to check them. Even if you get your ass beat, you got to check them because that person will go on thinking that he can do that at a later date
Exactly.
to another person. And
you're establishing sort of a precedent for the race, essentially, like for the up and coming. I mean, I do understand that. Example, I think I think Chinese people, Chinese Americans, kind of know that we don't carry the if we're walking down the street and you're coming down the other way, we get out of your way, right? Like we're gonna move. Like you expect us to move. The white guys across the street expect us to move. And if we don't, then either we're packing or we're Bruce Lee or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the social understanding is, for some reason, they generally will not back each other up or be as confrontational. What I want to sort of connect this back to our previous conversation was kind of predictability is now a tell for the black to liberal media, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
that's a tell. It is a button that they can push. It's oh, I'm going all in. I'm gonna win this. Like every time you do that, it's a tell. So
Well, look
it
at the
used to work.
Virginia governor
You-
issue with the
Yeah,
blackface
now
and
it
stuff.
doesn't work. They know that they can send millions of gainfully employed black people who are in peace with their families and their communities, and they can just send their entire communities into a royal just by putting out decades old pictures that may or may not be in context. And again, I think that kind of racial unity, that call to action that is implied in almost any situation where blacks are confronted as individuals or as a group, has become like a predictable tell that can be used against you.
You know what I also think it is? So, black people run Twitter. Not run, but like black people use Twitter like in the best way possible. Like when it comes to making something viral, it is always at the helm of somebody black. and we are easily weaponized for political gain, for financial gain. If you can tap into the heart of black people, you can sell us anything. You can mobilize us to do just about anything. Like I said, we're seeing the issues with the Virginia governor. Um, just the accusation that he might have either dressed up as a Klansman or blackface. Now
You can mobilize entire populations, right?
yeah, and you get to something so intrinsic in us, like, oh, this person is a racist. He doesn't like our people. Let's mobilize. Let's
And mobilize
mobilize.
a vote against him, right? Mobilize a vote against him. So what I just want to share with your viewers and with you is, again, I consume a lot of online content, a lot of YouTube. I don't see a lot of, probably going to be accused of being biased or get off my high horse or whatever, but I don't see a lot of commentary on these issues from, right? And
From
one thing I
you
want,
you dropped out. What'd you say? From who?
Chinese Americans, from Asian Americans in the country. I mean, the perspective is, you can dismiss the perspective if you'd like, but I'd like to offer it. I don't think, or Asians as a whole, specifically Chinese because we're the largest subgroup, we're not susceptible to that, which is why we get ignored in the media. Now, that in itself is its own kind of discrimination, but I think they know that there's no payoff for that, right? I mean, there's even logistical reasons for that, because Asians is an umbrella term for 15 different completely disparate
Pacific,
ethnic groups with different
South
languages.
Islanders and Cambodians.
So you're not going to convince the entire Asian group, but if you send out a secret message in Mandarin, Chinese, or in Japanese, like the Koreans don't give a fuck, the Indians don't give a fuck, Pakistanis don't give a fuck, right? But blacks and to a lesser extent Latinos can be mobilized with just a single, they're building a southern border against all Spanish speakers. Well, that guarantees you're going to get Peru, Chile, Venezuela, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a broad stroke, but there's probably more truth there than not truth, right? And I'm just offering for discussion, like, I don't know if Black Americans see that they're being played by...
Well, the intelligent ones do.
Hope.
We know we're being played, but most people don't realize they're being played. I know when I'm being mobilized. And I personally choose if I want to be part of that mobilization, if I think it's worthy or not. But 9 times out of 10, I'm like, okay, they're trying to rile us up for some dumb shit. Like today, they did the Joy Behar blackface was trending early this morning, and I fell for it. And I already knew the story, and then I fell for it because they tried to push it in my face again. So I did a few tweets on it, and now I feel like, oh god, why did I waste my energy on that? Like, why did I fall into that trap? Just to like add some metrics to like make Joy Behar seem like a racist, A
little bit off topic though, you got to admit, back then, she was looking good in that blackface picture, man. She was looking good.
Oh, so you were talking about Asians being offended. I just brought up the images of Abercrombie and Finch's racist T-shirts. Do you remember this controversy?
Two Wongs make a white, something like that.
Yeah. The Wong brothers, Walking Bowl. Buddha Bash, Pizza Dough, yeah, like, I remember, in fact, I think the Abercrombie and Finch, or maybe they had one at the Gap. Yeah, the Gap was the one who had 2 Wongs Don't Make a Bad. But yeah, I remember seeing these, in San Francisco, and they made a big deal of it, and they quietly said like, oh, we're sorry if it's offensive, we're gonna take them off our shelves. They didn't leave the shelves for like another 3 days.
Right. I think a lot of the
I think it is like most Americans just don't care about upsetting Asian people because they're like, well, they can't kick my ass, so fuck them.
Yeah, well, the danger comes from
that's probably what
like I was saying yesterday. Like I think that when you're looking on the chessboard of the Puppet Masters game, they see, with all respect, I think they see blacks as pawns to be moved off the chessboard, whereas they see other races as equally, evil pieces they want to eliminate, but they have to be a little bit more delicate because they have other means of attacking you. That would be the queen, the bishop, the knight, and so forth. And just to keep in perspective,
you can't talk shit about the Jews. You can't fuck with the Jews.
Hey man, the Jews own the chessboard. Okay, the
Yes.
Jews own the chessboard everyone's playing on.
Yes.
So, but you can't say that. I think I might have just put a hit out on you. But what I'm saying is like everyone, they come at people in different ways, and so I think if African Americans and the Black community recognize that they were way against their own interests, but the welfare state, Democrats are throwing out these like racial bones so they'll get their votes when they really don't. They're not trying to prove, they're not trying to keep any of the Black kids on the south side of Chicago where I stay at from getting shot by ignoring those issues in the media and then talking about what the fuck, Jussie Smollett's, hoax.
Mhm.
I mean, that they're not saving any Black lives. But in the same way, I do believe that the liberal media is complicit in a very obvious anti-Asian discrimination, and it's on a much deeper level. When Harvard, first of all, we know this shit's been going on for years.
Absolutely.
When Harvard stuff came out,
Yes.
I can personally tell you, because again, I am keyed for it. I consume the media to a healthy degree or unhealthy degree, depending how you look at it. They obviously will not talk about a landmark racial discrimination case, and it was juicy, right?
Yeah.
It was not, oh, they may have felt like they're talking about straight up stereotypes, decades, the number one institution, international. It's all kinds of old money. So you can't tell me they're not going to talk about it, but they don't talk about it like Morning Joe, right? They won't even mention it. So it filters down into like, well, why do they do that? There's no love for Asians. They're not up Asians' ass. They just recognize that there's a way to play them, and the way to play to Asians' predictability as a is like you said, is like they don't fight back. You can shit on all over them. They're not going to fight back like the Blacks. But when the Blacks fight back, they can't fight back like the Asians. They may not have the network. The main thing about the difference about I think the way the quote unquote white structure.
Well, also keep in mind,
regards
if you go after Black people, you aren't just swatting the hornet's nest of the Black community. You're also swatting the hornet's nest of white liberals.
Absolutely.
Who will jump in the front of the line to try to defend us from being offended. I think that really plays a part. You aren't dealing with just one subgroup. Essentially, if you say so, if you fuck with Black people, you're really fucking with everybody, because there are a lot of sympathetic people will come out to to will be offended on our behalf. I don't like it, but I acknowledge the reality of how that works.
Absolutely. And I think it's both, that flows both ways. I think Black people, at least from what I can tell, recognize that there's a lot to be gained from continuing that white guilt. And I think white liberals feel good by, shaking off some of the burden. Like it's that old school Eddie Murphy skit from SNL, like Cottonland.
Mm-hmm.
Cottonland, work off your white guilt, and it's Stevie Wonder and Eddie Murphy and like slave outfits beating the shit out of white people who feel guilt. Like it's funny because that's what they feel, and I think that link is doing a lot of work for Democrat leftist agenda.
Well, since we're here and talking about white liberals, let's listen to Malcolm X's opinion on that.
White liberals
Get on.
who have been eager to point out what the white man in the South has been doing to us, while they themselves here in the North are doing the same thing. They have been making a great fuss over the South, only to blind us to what is happening here in the North. And now that the eyes of America's 20 million blacks can easily see that this white South here in the North, only to blind us to what is happening here in the North.
Oh, that's you. You're echoing on me.
Is even more cruel and vicious than the white wolf in the South. The Southern wolves
You're echoing on me.
always let you know where you stand.
You're echoing on me.
But these northern
Me? My bad. Sorry.
pose as white liberals. They pose as your friend. Pose as your benefactor.
Was that me?
It's
Pose
you.
as your employer.
Okay, that's my bad.
They pose as
It's
your
okay.
I was trying
landlord. They pose as the neighborhood.
to hit play.
Let's try this
The
one.
lamb
Okay.
chop on his plate.
I think.
Toward Negroes, a Fox X.
Okay, since you brought up Malcolm X, I would like to offer, it's because again, I a lot of misperceptions of Asian Americans, specifically in relation to African Americans. I think there's a of disconnect or adversariness. Like I don't think that's necessarily true. One of the most influential books I've ever read in my life was the autobiography of Malcolm X, specifically the passage addressing the house slave.
The house Negro.
Negro. It is
the house Negro and the field Negro.
It completely opened my mind as to the dynamics of everything I was seeing when I first read. I think I was maybe a freshman or maybe an 8th grader. And it was like, oh, certain Asian people who come here and speak English better than the other ones. That's why they shit on the ones who are fobs, who fresh off the boats. That's why half Mexicans shit on, huh? The house Negro. No, the passage that stuck with me was like, you know, when the house Negro gets some extra food or he's indoors and doesn't have to work in the field, he instantly identifies with the master, right? Massa, we've got a good crops this year. What's we gonna plant next year, Massa? But when the field slave runs to the north because he hears of freedom, who the fuck you think's gonna go back into the field? The master? No, it's gonna be the house slave, right? So I know that's a very tenuous and temporary and very, very sadomasochistic relationship. And I learned that a long time ago, and it was from this Black knowledge that I acquired this. So that's when I learned, like, yourself off to other sources of knowledge because it comes from a place that other people demonize. And yeah, I heard about, you know, these people do not necessarily look at people in Chicago, and that, before you go too far on that, it's not necessarily without reason either. All right, I think sometimes people shit on Asian business owners quite a bit, but doesn't mean that I didn't hear from that group, right? But definitely, that was one of the most poignant 3 pages in my life. And I think it's like in the middle of the book, and it definitely, I encourage everyone to read if they haven't, you know.
Oh yeah, and dude, Malcolm X was so on point. I had a couple years ago, I got into an argument with someone who was saying, like, you know, Martin Luther King was the greatest civil rights leader of all time. I'm like, well, how do you define great? And he's like, what do you mean you don't like Martin Luther King? I was like, I'm not saying I don't like him, but I'm saying, you know, apples and oranges. Like, you know, Malcolm, I identify with him in so many ways, and his teachings and words still inspire me today. And while he was extremely militant, I don't consider myself militant. I still.
Hey, what do you think about Jamel Hill breaking out that Malcolm X line in regards to the Prez?
I missed it. Which one was it?
Get your hand out my pocket, nigga.
No, I
yeah,
missed
man,
that.
She's tripping, yo. She's tripping. If you look that up a little bit later, you'll see. I mean, it's a dead issue already. She already addressed it, and they're gonna let it go. But man, it's dancing that tightrope. I mean, they're not fucking around with that, you know.
The wolf doesn't.
Jamal Hill.
Jamel Hill, ESPN.
Let me see if I can. Oh, that's right. They kicked her out of ESPN.
Yeah.
I remember now. Yeah.
Referring to something AOC said, and then she got all hyped up and says, you know, get your hands on my pocket, nigga. And it's very, very inside joke. It's very inside baseball. But again, you know, I've seen it. I read it. So people who, I mean, most people are going to catch on to it, but it's just part of that TDS that's not really TDS. I mean, that's just a, you know, off-color comment.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, man, like I definitely think that go back to the Harvard thing. Like I came on, basically that was my walk away moment. I did vote for Barack twice. I supported a lot of the leftist sort of ideals, but that was for me very obvious that the Democrats are not on my side, and not even just on my side. They do not believe in equality, right? They are temporarily equitable for whoever will give them the votes. And as Asians are the fastest growing demographic in the United States, the fastest growing polling group as far as being registered to vote by state, that weight is going to switch very, very soon. Now, that will probably split very hard between blue and red. But there's just going to be more of them. So they're going to cater to us more. And I guarantee you, they're going to do the same shit. It's going to be, oh, hey, we use soy sauce in our meals, and they're going to start bowing. And, it's all these tokenization of wanting our votes. But at the same time, Democrats are just as hawkish for war with Asian nations. It used to be Japan, pick one, right?
Right.
It used to be Vietnam, and then Korea again, then China, then Japan in the stocks, and now it's Cold War. Then it's going to be a hot war. So I have no illusions that's any love, but it's just a different approach, different angle.
I have a love-hate, hate relationship with the Democrats. They're just so finicky. Like, it seems like every couple years, like, their outlook and, one year they'll support something, next year they'll say, like, oh, well, that's racist, or they'll back some cause and then they'll change. At least Republicans are consistent. At the very least, like, at least they're consistent. But,
I've sent to a friend of mine's, like, I think this is before the last election. They're like, rather eat a bowl of shit or drink a bucket of vomit. And I was like, I guess I gotta go with the Republicans and eat that bowl of shit, man. And they're like, why is that? And the one reason that I think they actually got what you just said, Ryoga, is like, hey man, if they get into power, know exactly who to go after and call them for being racist if they're racist, right?
Right.
We will all see rich old white people on the right side, and we'll all colors go after them. But there's something about the racism that I identify coming from the left that black people won't agree with me, the Mexicans won't agree, gays won't agree. Like it's this constant moving target, and I'm just waiting for it to come onto us, which it is. But like that's what you're talking about. They're so inconsistent from year to year with their
messaging, with their platform. Plus, the left loves to eat themselves. You
Absolutely.
can never be progressive enough for a leftist or a Democrat, and it's kind of sickening, that we can't just be, and they really just take their calling points from like the masses, whatever's trending on Twitter or whatever. This marginalized group says is now the thing that we're not supposed to do or hate. Like they back that. And all this.
You think that they can come back from being pushed so far left?
Can you come back from being pushed so far left? I don't think so. I don't see how. Like, especially when there's like a confirmation bias within that own subgenre.
Go Chamber.
Matter of fact, let me bring up a video that I think. Here it is. Mute your mic just for a moment.
Gotcha.
It's only a minute. Let me set this up for you. So this was at one of the protests in Berkeley, one of the riots that I was at, and there's this Antifa member who's running around doing something, and some person of color comes up and tells him to stop being so performative. Because he's got a mask on. She's like, yo, stop being performative. Either be about that life or don't be about life. But, stop. Be about it. Don't talk about it. He's like, and he says, like, I've been trying to get arrested all day. Like, I'm not being performative. They were like, she goes, you're still white. You're still part of the problem. And I forgot her last word. Yeah. Let me play it.
That's like the height of white performativeness. Like, if you're really.
So the guy has the mask on. She says, but that's like the height of white performativeness. And he goes, what?
Ally? Like, you just punch allies. You risk going to jail for the fact that they have the platform. You don't need, like, don't even give them the satisfaction of outing. Just.
What does that even mean?
Are you watching this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't give them the satisfaction of having, just punch. Yeah. And he goes, are you serious?
Yeah. I told you to do the word. Yeah. Punch a Nazi, stop being performative.
That whole Antifa kid is pretty wild too, man.
Punch a Nazi, stop being performative. He's like, dude, you have no idea. I put in work all the time. Like, he's trying to convince her, like, no, I'm just as woke as you are. Even though I'm white, I'm just as woke as you are.
Punch a Nazi, stop being performative. Punch a Nazi, stop yelling about it. Be about the shit. You're white now. I'm trying to get kicked out.
He's like, I'm trying to get kicked out. I'm like, then just leave. Yo, if you're trying to get kicked out, just leave, bro. That's performative.
I am. I've been fucking fighting for like 3 months. I've put myself at risk of arrest all the time.
Which is crazy.
Somebody threw a fucking megaphone at
I don't know. There's so many. There's so many comments to. There's so many.
Here's the best part. Here's the best part. So she's screaming at him, "You're not an ally. Punch a Nazi. Stop being performative." Here it comes. Here's the punchline.
You're pathetic. You should write your credentials on a giant board for us.
You're still white. You're still responsible.
You're still white. You're still responsible. This is your fault.
This is your fault. You're inherently racist.
You're inherently racist.
It's in your blood.
It's in your blood. It's in your DNA. That right there. I'll just pause right there. You're still white. You're still responsible. This is your fault. You're inherently racist. It's in your blood. It's in your DNA. The reason I brought this up is to explain for you that regardless of how left you are, regardless of how woke you think you are, you can never be far left enough when you're put up against it. Always comes to this
100%.
This class system, like, whether you're a white ally or not, or any type of an ally, if you're not black, or if you're not a person of color, or another marginalized person of color. So I could be in a group and be a black man, but I have less status than a black woman, or I have less status than a gay black man, and then a gay black man would have less status than a gay black woman, and a gay black woman would have less status than a trans black woman. And then a trans black woman would have less status than a disabled white trans, maybe. I don't know. I think race goes above all. So then it would be a trans.
You're describing intersectionality, right?
Yeah. So, and you have to, if you want to be part of that group, and if you don't adhere, or if you don't come close to what they like, then you're a Nazi. Then you're just a Nazi. Regardless of how left you think you are now a Nazi.
Address that, that point. That's also what came out of the affirmative action case at Harvard University. Is known for a while. I can personally attest to you that being an Asian American, you get a lot of racist bullshit. Not playing the violin, just keeping it real. But that does not qualify, right? That doesn't outweigh whatever the narrative now is. And I can tell you going forward, especially with the New York City Stuyvesant case, they are basically trying real hard to dance the line to use Asians as people of color when it suits them, and not people of color when it doesn't suit them.
I
right?
see that often. I hate to say this, when people mention people of color to me, like, Asians just don't come to mind.
Yeah, they don't.
But they're not white. Like, I don't think them as white, but I also don't think of them as people of color.
Exactly. So it's a kind of unique position, not talked about in the media. So like, they perceive us as being whoever, even some black people, they perceive us as being empowered, but we're not in control of the military, the police, the government, the media, the education system, entertainment, none of that. But we are susceptible to all of the trappings, the negative trappings of a minority group in any case. Like, if you're black in China, you would be treated that way, but without the voice. But they say, oh, well, you can pick on black people in China because, they're so physically powerful and they're intimidating. So when the cops beat their ass, that's not really coming down on a minority. It's just a very, very perverted kind of twisted logic. And that is, I would say that is core to the left, to the Democratic Party. Like, that whole oppression Olympics that they've identified as control cannot be separated.
Every time somebody pulls that on me, I always tell them, like, yo, if you want to play oppression Olympics, I'll beat you. So don't go there with me. In fact, you know what? Let me bring up one. It's midnight, so I need to go to bed, but let me bring up one last video because I love this one. I got into it with some guy in Portland as he tried to say that everybody, that I was with was a racist or whatever he was saying. Come on. Where is this video? I always lose it. is. Here it is.
If you want me to be outraged at every decision he makes or every tweet that he makes, it's really wasting a lot of time.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it is not. How dare you? I have my family members scared to fucking death about living on the streets.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
I want to unpack this while we go. So this guy was screaming at some of the Proud Boys that was hanging around, some other people at a rally in Portland, and he was saying, "You guys are trash. You guys are horrible. F you guys. You're scared to talk to me." And I was like, "I'll talk to you." He goes, "Well, what do you think?" I was like, "Well, ask me a question. Like, if you want to talk, if you want to have a dialogue, we can have a dialogue right here." And I forgot what we said before this. So this is pretty much where things pick up. So he says that.
Oh, is that you? Is that you in the video?
Yeah, that's me. So this is this guy who's calling us trash and stuff. Let me repack this one more time.
My family members scared to fucking death about living on the.
So he goes, "My family members are scared to fucking death about living on the streets." And I wanted to ask him, like, "Wait, why are you afraid?" And he goes, "Because of you guys." I think he says that.
Why?
I said, "Why?"
Do you see the nastiness? I was called a fruitcake, a faggot, a dick sucker.
So he goes, "Do you see the nastiness? I was called a fruitcake, a faggot, and a dick sucker." And, you know, while I don't know if those things are true or not, but him, you know, I would assume that him being a gay man, that, you know, he's been subjected to various forms of belittlement and offense or whatever, you know, so I don't, and he lives in Portland, so I'd like, why would you be afraid of a handful of right-wingers, you know, or Trump supporters, and you're in one of the most liberal cities on the planet? Like, no one's here to hurt you.
Way over there, multiple times. Do not tell me. I have, during Pride.
That's another thing I've kind of
week of celebration in this city.
Right about.
I do not walk around without these jackasses.
That's another thing I've kind of identified about like the left group is like misfire their labels. Like, you know, they'll.
Yeah, listen to this last part. Listen to this last part.
Screaming about kicking my ass. Is that safe? Is that safe? And ever since Trump became president, that
I mean, if you want to play at Pressure Olympics, I'll beat you. If you want to play at Pressure Olympics.
No, I'm not going to do the minority scorecard.
Okay, then that's not.
Which is exactly what he's doing. He's doing a minority scorecard with me, telling me that he's so oppressed because he's gay, and that these right-wingers allegedly called him the F word or whatever. And I'm like, and I told him, like, okay, well, I don't think that about you. He goes, it doesn't matter. And he never let me get to it, but I said, I wanted to say to him, and he cut me off. I was like, you do understand there's tons of gay people here. There's tons of black people here. There's tons of Asian people here. There's tons of trans people here. So for you to say that like you are more oppressed than those people, like you're missing the point. This isn't about race or identity politics. It's about, you know, people's personal beliefs. I'll go ahead and skip to the end.
Since you're talking over me like it's not valid. Like, I can't be outraged. You said I shouldn't be upset about every fucking tweet he does.
I did say that, yes.
Yeah, that's telling me how I should fucking feel about this guy.
You're telling me I shouldn't be with that side.
Exactly.
So we're doing the same thing.
This is trash.
He goes, your side is trash.
Do you know that? You think I'm racist?
Are you supporting them? Are you marching with them? Are you supporting these guys that are wearing that? Why are you on the other side?
No, because they'll beat me up.
That's a misconception.
It's not.
It's not a
literally personal experience.
I'm not with.
And then he runs off. And he goes, why aren't you on the other side with us? And we're like, yo, because we'll get beat up. He goes, that's a misconception. And as soon as we say that it's not, he runs off because he has nothing to say after that.
I don't know about the Oppression Olympics. He gets a gold in track. I mean, that.
Oh man, that was a funny one.
Well, I really appreciate you taking my call there, Ryoga. I know you got a lot of callers and your viewership is growing, so I appreciate you taking the time to let me express some of my opinions.
Absolutely. No, this has been fun. I'm actually about to go to bed. I am 5 minutes overdue because I do have work in the morning. Yeah, no, this has been better than the other days. It's nice when people call in, and I get to have a dialogue with people, and you know, I want to build. Like, I just need, like, 4 decent people to do, like, you know, political talks, like, once a week. You know, Friday evenings or something, or Thursday evening. Just go through the topics of the week. Like, I would love to sit down with, like, somebody far left, somebody far right, myself, and, like, a hardcore, like, libertarian centrist. And, heck, I could even just moderate it, you know, and not getting involved. And, like, I think that would be such a great conversation, as long as, like, we don't call each other Nazis or snowflakes, and just try to like stick to the issues, because I think there's a lot of different, you know, with the Virginia governor thing, there's a lot of ways to look at it. There's a lot of ways to look at Jesse Smollett's story. There's a lot of different ways to look at Joy Behar, AOC. There's a lot of ways to look at her. The State of the Union address. There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions on that, and we don't, Twitch, YouTube. Yeah, I can do just about anything on YouTube, but Twitch, I think that's a place where people aren't introduced to politics very much and would be interested in having that platform to facilitate that for them.
I agree. I think first I would like to be involved in that to whatever degree I can be. I'm actually very new to this is actually the very first time I've called anybody into any radio show of any kind, Opie and Anthony or anything like that. So I'd be really interested in participating on that. I'm definitely going to spread the word as far as increasing your viewership. I think you're closer to creating that more than a lot of the other live stream that I'm exposed to. I really do think you're closer to that finish line if that's in fact your goal. And lastly, it's like if we can get a couple more calls like these in, I would love to see if I can maybe even get my own type of stream channel going. I really have no experience, so maybe you can provide some advice on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So-
we can do that at another time. Like I said, I really got to go to bed. But I'll be around. Let's see, tomorrow's Friday. I probably stream for like an hour tomorrow. I'm hoping we get some new Jesse Smollett news tomorrow, or at least this weekend. But like I said, this whole conversation started with Jesse Smollett. The last thing the police said is they're trying to talk to him one last time. After looking at the final bits of footage that they have, they've requested to have another conversation with him. And the only thing that can mean is they're about to try to trap him up in like a lie. And I think the end of this particular story, which I've taken so much interest in since it started, is the hammer's about to drop. And I will definitely be streaming that. And I wish I could find someone who believes it, because I would love to have that conversation with someone. Because I don't want to get into this echo chamber of myself, or this echo chamber of like absolute emphatical disbelief. I would love for someone to try to convince me, or at least share their experience of why they think that this is a valid incident and it did happen. And then for any subject, if I take a position, yay or nay, right, left or right, I would love for someone to be that counterbalance to me.
In most cases, in my opinion, I'll leave it on this, is just being aware of the existence of the echo chamber is usually a pretty good antidote to it.
Yeah. And believe me, I get into my chambers sometimes and I hate it, and I try not to, but I'm so stuck, but I acknowledge that sometimes I'm there, and I try to bring people in like when I talked to Destiny the other day, like, I love being wrong. If you have facts that I'm not aware of,
Get on.
I love
Educate me.
I love disrupting my confirmation bias, because like I never want to put out false information ever, regardless of how headstrong I'm on something. The moment I know that what I'm saying is wrong, just allows me to grow as a person.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyway,
I really had a good time,
gotta
man.
go.
We'll be able to join tomorrow. Okay. Thanks a
All right.
lot.
All right, guys, take care. You guys in the chat room, thank you so much for showing up. I really, really appreciate it. This has been a good one. Taking calls is it puts some of the work off of me, which helps me a lot. I'm not entirely focused, and I'm not, oh, let me talk about this. Oh, let me go search this. Oh, let me talk about this. Like, I get to just focus on the content. So taking calls is very beneficial to me. So all 9 of you on Twitch, all 11 of you on YouTube, and the handful of you guys on StreamMe and Mixer and Smashcast. Thank you all for showing up. Oh, my numbers are off. There are more people in my chat room that are actually being shown. Maybe somebody's on Mob Crush and I just can't see them. Anyway, I'm going to bed, so you guys can sign off if you want. Good night. I'll say it in sign language. Good night. This is good night. Night, like that. And also good morning. But it's not morning, it's night. But yeah, let's do this tomorrow, and let's hope there is some resolution to the Jesse Smollett case. I'm hoping for something. But as it looks right now, he going to jail, or at least it's going to be made look stupid. Or his PR people are probably already have something put together. His publicist is like, Jesse Smollett attests that his reporting was factual, even though there's just no video evidence of it. He was attacked. As they say, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Just because something doesn't, what is it? The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. There are known knowns and known unknowns, and there's also unknown unknowns, things that we know that we don't know, or things we don't know that we don't know. Yeah. All right, guys. Peace out. Good night. Sleep well. My Twitch fam, my YouTube fam, you guys have been great. Bye.